Is my volume okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Turn it
It's
up a little
still just a little bit like it's a little choppy.
A little choppy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
light chop.
Like with internet dropping.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's
shall
like
I
a,
try
like a stop
the,
motion. Yeah,
I
maybe try the
bottom one?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Do a house. I think we're on. We're broadcasting. Hello, everybody. We're still working out the little kinks. We're kinky. Let's see. Up here, you look for my phone, and I'll have to plug my phone in.
Oh, Neville.
Oh, I guess we're live if you're on Neveling, are you?
Yes, we are live. Neville's just making comments about the sleeping arrangements in Jeff's hotel room. So Jeff is switching to his mobile hotspots on his phone. See if that works better.
Oh,
He
is he? Oh, okay.
I was breaking up a bit more.
That's a shame.
Mm-hmm. What do you got to drink?
Some old speckled hen tonight.
Very nice.
Very nice. It's a
Classic,
distinctive English pale ale. Bop. Who went bop?
Jeff's back.
Enjoy responsibly. Enjoy chilled. From the Moorland Brewery. Very nice, actually. I do like a bit of speckled hen.
Is any better? I know.
Hello,
I've
sir.
only been on for a bit, so you probably can't tell yet.
That seems worse.
Video's a
Hello,
little
can you hear me?
jerky.
Yeah, that's almost seems worse.
Okay, let me go back.
It's definitely worse.
Yeah, your video is pretty awful. Yes, I'm feeling very Enola Gay tonight.
I see that.
Mm. Aye.
It's a good picture.
So I'm waking up with awful back pain, doctor.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to work on that.
I have a feeling.
Pop over for a cortisone shot?
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. I have a feeling it's the very expensive, memory foam mattress.
Sometimes the memory foam is not the best thing for.
Yeah, it seems to, because you sink into it a bit, you don't seem to roll around and move around quite so much, and I have a feeling that might be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Memory foam.
One position too much. Well, your video is beautiful again. I think we'll just have to put up with the odd hiccup.
And if we're all going to be our own audio,
yeah,
that might help, maybe. Although you guys have been okay with me, so that's really the critical thing for the recording. Is the idiot coming into me.
Freudian slip there.
What is this now? Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly time. Raspberry brown ale from Catawba.
Mm-hmm.
And it did smell like peanut butter and jelly when I opened it.
All right.
Oh yeah, it definitely is peanut butter and jelly tasting.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You guys eaten?
Well, they're having peanut butter and jelly beer.
We've eaten.
Okay. Well, there's a pork chop at every pint.
Did you fix yourself something?
Yeah, I already ate mine.
Okay. Yeah. Look at this. Stephen fixed me a nice little ham and cheese and
croissant.
No, it's like it's prosciutto and cheese.
Oh, prosciutto.
Yeah.
And little
yeah. At least tie us over for a little bit.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Hopefully you won't hear my stomach growl.
I just had a couple of duck tacos. Good to go.
From
duck taco.
From White Duck Taco?
From White Duck Taco. Yep. They opened one right by my office, Steven.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
It's not good because I've been there twice already this week. I mean, it is good, but I eat a lot of tacos now. So.
Well, I mean, they're probably a little bit of chickens, right?
They're what? Sorry.
They're a little bit better than chicken nuggets, right, from McDonald's?
Oh yeah, definitely. And actually, it's less of a hassle to pick up tacos than it is to go to McDonald's.
Absolutely.
I can order it on the dog, but just order it on the app. I show up, it's like ready to go. Bloop.
Yeah, it's like only that's open in O'Hare's, the McDonald's, and everyone's like waiting in line. Well, you can mobile order from the app, so I just do the
mobile order and just walk up and pick it up off the counter.
Walk up and I get so many ugly looks.
You're like, you could order mobile. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't hate me because I'm smart.
Yep, exactly. Get more important things to do with my time.
Yep.
Well, like go up narrow gauge railways.
Yeah.
What about it? Ride narrow gauge railways. Exactly.
Okay. I just don't know why. Liz is not hearing me on the clean feed. She did. Oh, you are. Wait.
Yeah,
Well, I'm muted.
Yeah, you muted yourself.
But she hears me.
Oh. But she hears you through the.
Oh, is she on StreamYard right now?
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, how can I hear
technology thing is?
Oh, wait, this is weird because normally if you're not in this, I know you're down here, but
no, you can hear down there.
Really?
Yeah. Watch. Say something about me.
Okay. Say something.
I think Steph is a really nice backstabber.
I'm a very nice backstabber.
Yeah, but
there you go.
I'm hearing Liz through the StreamYard.
No, you're hearing her through clean feed.
Yeah,
because we'd be hearing her through StreamYard as well.
I gotcha. You don't hear Liz.
No.
That's what I was confused about. I thought everybody was hearing Liz.
No. It's working the way it's supposed to. You're the only one who's hearing Liz.
Simple.
There's too many voices. There's too many voices in Jeff's head.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I hear too many people talking to me.
I hear dead people. Okay. So, have we gotten an update on Rick?
Negative.
Ghost Rider.
Okay. Yes. I know that. I just wondered because I told him we were going to be starting a little bit late anyway. So he's just going to join us while we're in progress. Let me do some other.
You obviously have a wonderful economy with words.
Okay, I can hear that, but you did not hear that sound clip I just played.
Yes, I did.
Yes, we did.
You did?
Yes.
Well, why didn't I see it up here?
A lovely economy with words.
Okay, thank you. Let me do that again then.
Work.
Okay, I see.
Work.
Okay. Let me play something in Evernote so we can make sure that that's working as well.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. The view from our side of the cockpit door.
You hearing that?
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Volume okay?
Yeah, for me.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Mine get a bit deaf nowadays, so everything sounds ordinary to me.
That's not funny.
So long as I haven't reached 11 on the volume, I consider everything fine.
Okay.
These ones go to 11.
Okay, so I'm recording on my microphone, the iPad, the Hangout on Air, and Steven.
Yes.
Okay. And also the Evernote and Farrago and all the other ones up here in this line. Okay, that's good.
I'm recording.
Excellent.
Same.
Steph's recording. Wow. She hasn't had to do an update.
Just keep talking over him, Liz.
This is the problem with us not being able to hear Liz.
Okay.
Like we're just.
You need to plug in your phone since you're using it for the hotspot, so it doesn't go dead.
No, I'm not using it for that. I tried it.
Oh,
and
okay.
they said it was worse.
Okay, well,
when you were fixing this little lunch thing. So
okay, cool. I don't know. I was just making sure.
Yeah. So, but thanks. Good call. If it were if we were using the hotspot on the phone, then I definitely want.
Yeah, I mean, I would use my hotspot, but that lithium-ion battery died on me, so because it about exploded. So yeah.
Okay.
That's not good.
No,
so
it's not.
let's see. We have Steph and Rick will join us later. We have Nick in his studio in the English countryside.
He's in the Uberhazy Center.
Else that I wanted to talk about at the beginning? I don't know, probably, but I just don't remember anything anymore.
I don't either.
Okay. Well, I think we should just go with this and just see what happens.
She has got a pretty countryside house.
Let's
she has got a pretty
have a quick,
countryside house.
Little cheers.
Cheers. Oh, let's start with no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Singing aye, yippee, yippee, aye.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those days, Stephen.
The things that we have to kind of put up with every week. Which we do so
out of love.
Yeah,
it's a different sentiment, really.
I'm your penance. Yeah, so every time you do a bad deed, you have to listen to me.
I don't know. I keep. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Pretty sure you could mute him.
And every time you're getting out of the picture. All right. You see where you are in the. Stop it! Damn you!
I tried to stay still.
You know what? I know what I can do.
I noticed that there's a significant amount of social distancing between you two. You could actually bother to get a bit closer. It might look better.
I mean,
well, but see, the problem is then the mic.
And the mics are too close, and then they overlap.
Yeah. Then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the camera angle a little bit. I have not done that yet.
Trying to work out what's on your. I don't always.
Phenomena.
Phenomena.
When I do, I do. Right.
The guy at the train.
Yeah, the guy at the train station is like, "That's an awesome shirt. I got distracted by it."
Excellent.
Phenomena. Sorry.
Phenomena, not phenomena.
Okay. Need to adjust the.
Just like the faces Jeff makes when he's looking at the. It's like.
I just don't know why his exposure is much better than mine. It's not fair.
Here, I can lift this lampshade up. Does that work? See?
Yeah,
that actually looks good.
Well, it works for you.
Stephen looks great. Jeff
Jeff's in the this LED panel over here.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
What is up with that?
It's not as bright as the lamp.
Apparently not.
Well, hold on.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, I bumped up the LED panel.
I was about to say.
Now it's like glaring so badly I can hardly see anything else.
I was about to say, I might have to go get sunglasses.
Mind you, because the LED is white and the lamp is tungsten. So,
well, I adjusted. What's the temperature, Nick, for tungsten?
I don't know. Off the top of my.
Well, I can adjust the temperature.
Cool and warm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I have it. Now
you can do it visually. Yeah, it looks good. They're nice. They're okay now. You look like you got a nice suntan now.
There we go.
It's the temperature for tungsten.
Yeah,
that's a good spot for you right there.
Yeah, just hold it the whole time.
Well, it's that net like there. I can't get off.
Like the rabbit ears. Okay, hold it right. Perfect. Don't move. Yeah, perfect. Now sleep.
Okay. I can't hold that for 3 hours or so.
All right.
Around 3,200 Kelvin.
Okay. Let me see.
It's
3,300 right now.
Oh, that's not bad then.
That was good.
It's probably not going to be calibrated brilliantly, but.
Okay.
Oh, Rizzo reckons 3,600. Mate, you're 400 out. Dear, oh dear.
I'm complicated. I'm confused.
Yeah, I am. What?
I was going to say I'm complicated.
Temperature. We're talking temperatures still.
Oh,
temperatures. Neville says tungsten's 3,200. Is that what you're getting at?
That's right. Rizzo was coming in at 3,600.
3,300 on the temperature, on the color.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
I'll take temperature for $1.
Okay, go ahead. All right. So
not the game
let me see. I think we're still recording over here. We are. And we've done our sound checks. And this is going to be, it's not going to be good. I'll just put that out there right away. It won't be good.
Set the expectations low.
Yeah. Yep. And then when it's better than not very good, then that's
when
great.
It's mediocre.
Yes.
Good.
I don't think we need to do the clapper boards. Well, why don't we just do hand claps and clap boards? Yeah, why not? Okay. APG, that was Liz reminding me to do the clapping. So APG 433 in 3, 2, 1. Such a delay.
Did Stephen clap as well?
No,
he doesn't need to.
Oh, God, come on, Stephen.
Come on.
Get with the program.
Yeah, we got to do it again because Stephen didn't.
Okay.
Just go ahead and clap.
I mean, it sounded close to me.
Now we have. Yeah, see,
It
that's the
sounded
weird
pretty
thing.
awful where I was. But
Yeah,
it sounded
terrible
perfect where I am. I mean, it was right in sync.
Especially your own clap.
Yeah,
My clap sounded right on time.
Yeah.
I don't know why yours is lagging behind. I don't know. It's weird. All right. Yes, Liz, anything else you wanted to say? Okay. Very good. She said she's ready. And, there's no putting it off any longer. We just have to start this thing.
I hope so.
So here we go. I know. How late is it?
No, you're only 7:30. It's not too bad. You're only 30 minutes late.
It's not late at all. Okay. Here we go.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, Airline Pilot Guy. Airline Pilot Guy episode 433. Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door with your host, Captain Jeff.
Yeah, it must be the internet, not me. Not that I did anything on Evernote.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, did you just click on something?
No.
He can normally get away with this, Steve.
Over there.
He can normally get away with it, but with you there, all is revealed.
I don't know what happened.
I was not.
It was like you definitely stopped it.
I have no idea what happened. Well, that's weird. It must be that internet thing again. Damn it! Darn it!
Do we have to clap again now?
No. Unless you want to.
Yeah, you want to clap it? Yeah.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and there's something, show it. I can't even get the words right for that.
You were doing that on purpose, Nick. I could.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, it's the Airline Pilot Guy. Airline Pilot Guy episode 433. Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 3C at the Doubletree Hotel in Durango, Colorado. Today's show is recorded on the 9th of July, 2020. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Get your ride and it's flying wide. With the Airline Pilot Guy. In today's episode, investigators say engine trouble caused the crash of a Canadian aerobatic plane in Georgia last year. Spirit Airlines rescues a family stranded by medical emergency in Turks and Caicos. More news, your feedback, and in today's Plane Tales, the rare Red Hawk. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 433 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an Emmy Award-winning TV and radio reporter currently on the #1 all news Yeah, it's only for you, Liz. Sorry. Thank you, Roger. He's an Emmy Award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins in New York. Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. I can't do this with Steph laughing. I can just see him.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hold that together. Sorry. It was great. I'll stop laughing now.
You know, normally I can't see you, but the way I have my window set up, I can. And you're going. I'm thinking, concentrate, Jeff. Concentrate. Don't crack up.
Can't do it.
Okay.
This
I'm
fun.
better now.
Yeah, this is great.
First time you've ever done this with me?
Yeah, first time I've ever done it with you. Yeah,
probably the last time too, right?
Yeah, probably. I'll let you do it on your own next week.
He's developed some very bad habits since he started this show with you, Stephen.
Yes.
I mean, this is the first time, so I don't know what's normal and what's
This
not.
is normal.
No, this is normal. This is normal. And this is not the worst it's been for laughing like immediately upon trying to start the show or like realizing something
definitely
didn't quite go right. Yeah.
So I heard from Liz on the Talkback channel that it was awful. The audio that's coming in from the intro from Radio Roger.
Oh, but it always does that with
It always sounds
like-
kind of crappy.
Yeah, kind of. That's not anything new.
Okay, so
Just over the live broadcast, it doesn't. I mean, obviously, it doesn't do that on the recording.
you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go like we've just played it because it doesn't matter for the video, right? It's mostly for the audio anyway. Okay.
Woosa.
Serious.
Woosa.
Usa Misa?
You really tickled Liz on that one. She's laughing hard. Thanks, Radio Roger. He's an Emmy Award-winning TV and radio reporter. Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an Emmy Award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 news station in the nation, 1010 Wins in New York City. Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a pilot at a major legacy carrier based in Atlanta, Georgia for the last 31 and a half years. And I am joined today by my awesome APG co-hosts. First, from her lakeside home in the Carolinas, doctor, skydiver, marathon runner, strength training junkie, IPA connoisseur, and commercial multi-engine instrument-rated pilot, Dr. Steph.
Hey, Captain Jeff. And I'd also like to add to that, completely serious and never like joking or, laughing.
She's always rock solid.
Like
Never laughs.
Just right on topic. So good to be with you
Never
guys.
break.
Looking forward to a great show. This is going to be a good one already, I can tell.
Oh, I hope so. All right. Also joining us from across the pond in the English countryside, world traveler, airplane. Nope, that's the wrong one. Professional photographer, former RAF. That's all right. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. And from across the pond, from his studio in the English countryside, professional photographer, former RAF RAAF fighter pilot, retired captain for an international airline based in London. It's Captain Nick.
Well, hi there, Jeff. Great to hear that you're having such a wonderful road trip. I'm amazed you haven't had a car crash yet, because this is leading into one.
It's actually turning into quite a train wreck. And luckily we have not. That's the first one today.
Yeah, that's the first one.
We just rode a train earlier today. Yeah. So let me introduce our special guest today. Oh, I meant to ask you what you wanted me to say about you. Tell us about, who are you? Introduce yourself.
Let's see. Acme Junior pilot, former project manager at a power company, and I don't know, train addict. Yeah, train addict. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Why not? And there you have it, Stephen Ivy. So we're going to tell you about what's going on with Stephen Ivy and I and myself during the Getting to Know Us segment. But first, we're going to jump right on into the news.
stand by for news.
All right, let's start with a reminder for everyone that on the 14th of July, which is what day is that? Tuesday, I think?
That is going to be next Tuesday.
Okay, next Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, is scheduled to hold a board meeting regarding the to determine the probable cause of the February 23rd, 2019 Atlas Air Flight 3591 crash into Trinity Bay, Texas. So just wanted to remind everybody about that. If you're home or in a place where you can watch or listen to the live stream, there you go. Information about it will be in the show notes. That was a nice and easy one, wasn't it?
That was.
All right.
Good way to start. Just
good way to start.
Ease right into it.
The second item in our news notebook is from airlinegeeks.com. Russia's Aeroflot secretly carries passenger abroad under guise of cargo. Russian Airlines, commonly known as Aeroflot, has been secretly operating exclusive luxury flights abroad for approximately a month, despite Russian government's international travel ban. The business daily Vedomosti, which was previously a joint venture between Dow Jones and the Financial Times, reported. As Russians' coronavirus cases continue to rise at one of the fastest rates in the world, the Russian state banned international flights for all airlines at the end of March in a bid to battle the COVID-19 pandemic. The country allows only government-authorized repatriation flights to bring back Russian citizens who were stuck abroad due to lockdowns. Russia's flag carrier also stopped selling tickets for international flights until August 1st, when the airline thinks the state will lift bans on some international destinations. To operate these repatriation flights, airline companies have to get permission from the Russian Federal Air Transport Agency and the aviation authorities of the countries where such flights are planned to be operated. However, Aeroflot is somehow continuing to carry passengers abroad, as reported by Vedomosti, citing employees of 3 Russian-based airlines. According to the employees of these 3 airlines, including Aeroflot itself, the company has been bypassing the ban by operating passenger flights cargo. I guess passenger kind of sort of cargo, live cargo.
Self-loading cargo.
Self-loading. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aeroflot has been operating flights to New York, Paris, London, Frankfurt, Seoul, and Tel Aviv since at least early June. These flights are officially registered as cargo, but tickets are sold with permission from Russian Federal Air Transport Agency. Vedomosti cited 2 Aeroflot representatives. It's noted that these exclusive flights are not publicized, and passengers learn about ticket sales through the grapevine. Due to the closed European borders, only EU citizens or Russians who have citizenship or a residence permit in one of the European countries are allowed to buy tickets for these flights. According to flight tracking data, Aeroflot has operated flights to Frankfurt, Paris, London, Rome, Barcelona, Nice, New York, and Tel Aviv since the beginning of June. I think. Didn't I just read that in a previous paragraph?
I believe you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love the journalists, how they repeat these things. They just change a couple of words, rearrange.
We're going to need 450 words from you.
Yeah. I need to tell you though. I forgot to tell you, Steph. According to flight tracking data, Aeroflot has operated flights to Frankfurt, Paris, London, Rome, Barcelona, Nice, New York, Seoul, and Tel Aviv since the beginning of June.
I'm so glad you mentioned it.
Yeah.
That's an important
for reminding us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, since this is now being reported, if they're still doing it.
I just wondering about the logistics of it. Like, you show up with a cargo flight, you're like, oh, by the way, we just have these couple extra people. Can you just process them through immigration and customs for us?
Well, I know, like if I want to go ride on FedEx or UPS internationally, they just put me on the documentation, and then I've got to just pay the fees and everything. But I think that's kind of different set of circumstances. You're not actually, I'm technically a crew member, not, self-loading cargo.
We've always considered you, Stephen, as a crew member.
Oh, well, thank you, Jeff.
Sure.
But I was kind of curious because I thought Aeroflot was owned by the Russian government. It's 51% owned, so they're kind of breaking the law.
They're breaking their own law.
Yeah, they're breaking their own law to make money for the
the part that was confusing. Tickets sold with permission from Russian Federal Air Transport Agency, which also seems like a government entity.
Yeah, isn't it a non-story then? Because have permission.
Well, I guess maybe everybody.
We made the rule, and then we broke our own rule. So
But they're the only ones that get to break the rule, though. I think that's what people are upset about. Right?
That's probably it.
Because there are a couple other Russian airlines that aren't allowed to be doing
and
this.
then, if it's cargo, they're making you ride in the cargo hold, or do you get to actually ride in the cabin?
I'm thinking that they're probably just regular airliners.
Yeah, probably.
Right? With seats.
Oh, weren't you showing me a picture? It was a 380 or something that had the seats taken out? It was set for a couple where they're putting cargo in.
Yeah, that was that. What was the one big giant A380? I fly, you fly, we fly,
high fly.
High fly.
Yeah, maybe they're doing that. They're taking half the seats out and putting cargo in there, and they're putting people in there too. Have a combo.
Well, Stephanie, you're a Russian agent. What do you know about that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Most and say I cannot tell you about.
Well, how about Boris? Let's go to Boris. What do you think, sir?
I know nothing.
Okay. Well,
offended any Russians listening to the show. We apologize deeply.
I knew we shouldn't cover this news item. Liz, yeah, next time, anything to do with the Russian thing, let's don't talk about it. Yeah. She just asked me if she's fired. No, that's just one strike. Okay. You have 2 more to go. That's it. Okay. Let's see. I think we should probably move on before,
Can't you be at the door?
Before there's some, mysterious disappearances.
Yes. Okay. And so we're going to go to item C. Final report on the snowbird crash in Georgia. Investigators of the Canadian Department of National Defense determined that the crash of the CT-114 Tudor belonging to the snowbird aerobatic team was caused by an engine malfunction. Moreover, the pilot's ejection was obstructed by the parachute lines, resulting in minor injuries. The Royal Canadian Air Forces released the official crash report on June 29th regarding the crash that occurred in Georgia, United States on October 13th, 2019. After carrying out inverted flight for a routine check, the pilot rolled level, applied full thrust to rejoin the rest of the snowbird formation. But the aircraft suffered a loss of engine thrust. Due to the altitude being too low to attempt a safe recovery, the pilot chose to eject. However, an anomaly in the ejection sequence resulted in minor injuries. The aircraft crashed in a field and was destroyed, causing no other damage. The investigators found that the most probable cause of the crash was a fuel delivery system failure in the jet's engine. Though they could not determine exactly what caused the malfunction, signs of previous damage from a possible fuel leak were found. Additionally, it was determined that 1 or more parachute pack retaining cones had been released prior to the activation of the Martin Baker MK-10B ejection seat, reducing its entanglement with the suspension lines. Following the finding, the life support system of the whole fleet was reviewed. The investigators recommended an inspection of Snowbird CT-114 Tudor engines to identify potential fuel leaks or damages that could explain the incident. On May 17th, 2020, another CT-144 Tudor aircraft of the Canadian Snowbirds crashed during an exhibition flight. We've talked about that one. Both occupants managed to eject, but one of the crew members was killed. The report stated that the crash was likely caused by a bird strike. However, the performance of the ejection system is still under review. And we do have a link that Liz put in this news item to the actual RCAF report, and that will be in the show notes if you want to look at it. There you go. And this is from aerotime.aero, A-E-R-O. All right.
It's an interesting one, this, Jeff. And I'm not casting dispersions here. I'm not pointing the finger at the snowbirds. But I used to regularly, I think most military pilots have had to go up to do loose article checks in their aircraft to try and discover, because if you drop something in the cockpit, it's obviously a potential for it to jam something significant. And it's quite common then, if the engineers can't find it, for them, pull the seat out, pull the cockpit apart. If they can't find it, then they say, right, well, will you mind getting airborne and turning upside down and seeing if anything falls out? Now, with the loose article still kicking around inside the cockpit, we used to climb just carefully straight ahead to a suitable altitude and then we would start performing inverted checks. We wouldn't do it close to the ground for the obvious reason that while it's there and hasn't been found, there's the potential that it could jam something, and you don't want to be close to the ground if that happens. So I'm just wondering, I don't know what height they were when they did this, but they did it low enough that they were too low to attempt a safe recovery. So I'm just going, I wonder what height they were, because we would have probably gone to 10,000 to do this. But
it just says routine check. It doesn't say what they were checking for, does it?
no.
I mean, on the maneuver that they were doing, was it part of practice or was it part of,
Inverted flight for a
to,
routine check? Well, okay then. All right, I jumped to the conclusion that it was a loose article check. It could well have been something else that they wanted to check, for example, engine performance. I don't know, but why else would you do an inverted flight check? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, your point's very well taken there, but I'm not sure what the.
So I may be reading too much into this.
Yeah, and I don't think he was that high, Nick. Because if I recall, he was within, I think, maybe 5 miles of where they were doing the air show out at the racetrack in Atlanta. So I mean, I don't know what the glide ratio is, but you're not going to get very far,
Yeah, he's saying that. Yeah, when they were doing those inverted checks for.
Yeah, they were
they
higher.
Were required to be higher. But
yeah,
I don't think in this case we may be reading in too much to that, Nick. It was probably some other invert check that do the.
Yeah. Okay, so just to drag us back up towards 50%, though, the MK10 is actually a Mark 10. MK is short for Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. So it's a Mark 10B, which is actually quite a good seat. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Quite a good seat, and I'm not too sure what the hell went on with that. But they've had a couple of problems now with that seat in that aircraft, whether it's a combination of mating the seat to the aircraft or not. I don't know. Perhaps a maintenance issue, but I'm a bit concerned because the Mark 10 is a very, very safe seat that is fitted to an awful lot of aircraft. So don't know about that.
Yeah, the deployment sequence issue for some reason on this one.
Yeah, and they're talking about these cones fitted to the parachute, and I don't know anything about that. I've never heard of that.
I'm imagining that. So the way that the parachute is fitted to the seat, what happened was the seat, the cone is retaining the parachute pack on the seat, so it's supposed to deploy after the seat is away from the canopy. But if it went early, I don't know if that caused twisting or other out of sequence deployment.
The parachute is attached to the pilot. The pilot.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry.
That's
what I mean. Yeah. I meant not to the seat, to the pilot. So,
yeah.
But if that came loose first before the seat was up and out of the way, then it could cause them to.
Usually the parachute and system and the seat they just drop away because the straps are cut and the seat's very heavy and you've got to drag.
So something in that sequence was out of order, so it didn't happen in the right order.
I've never heard of these cones before, so doesn't mean they don't. Perhaps they could give them a different name.
Yeah, I don't know what it's referencing, to be honest, but
no.
Anyway,
okay. Very good. Anything else before we move on to the next item?
No.
All right. Here we go. Item D. Spirit. Hey, how about some good news for a change? Spirit sends a private, not really a private, but an A319 jet to rescue families stranded in Turks and Caicos after a medical emergency. And this is from paddleyourown.com.
Do you paddle your own canoe?
When I have one. Actually, I don't own my own canoe.
Slightly ironic. They didn't have to paddle their own canoe back from Turks and Caicos, right?
Oh, wow. That deserves a rim shot if I can find it right here.
Sorry. It's terrible.
I'm glad somebody else is making stupid jokes like that. Not me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. This is from, as I said, paddleyourown.com, from Mateusz Maszyński.
Yeah, what he said.
Maszyński.
I like to call him MM. He's a serving international flight attendant with experience. American low-cost airline. Spirit is most known for its rock-bottom, self-proclaimed bear fares and stripped-back offering rather than industry-leading customer service. Ouch. But the Florida-based airline really went above and beyond when it rescued a stranded family from the Turks and Caicos Islands over the weekend. They even got their very own private Airbus A319 jet to fly them safely home to Puerto Rico. The family of 3 were recently flying with Spirit from Puerto Rico to Philadelphia when their 4-year-old daughter started having a seizure. Flight attendants immediately offered first aid, putting the young child on oxygen before a decision was made to divert the plane to the Turks and Caicos Islands for further medical treatment. Providenciales? Is that how you would? Okay. Once on the ground, the child and the family were rushed to the hospital, but Spirit Airlines flight had to depart without them to complete the journey to Philadelphia. At this point, the family realized they were stuck on the Turks and Caicos. The passports, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, regularly scheduled flights between the Turks and Caicos and the United States had been suspended. Thankfully, Spirit decided not to abandon the family like it could have done, and instead got permission to charter one of its planes to rescue the family and fly them back home to Puerto Rico. And with the scheduled flight suspended, of course, they were the only passengers on the 145-seat aircraft. So, yeah, that was a nice thing that they did.
Absolutely. You don't usually hear Spirit doing nice things. It's usually the exact opposite.
Right. It's kind of almost easy to get a little skeptical, as to why they actually did this, but maybe it was just out of goodwill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. All right. There you have it. A nice short news segment, which brings us into the part of the show where we kind of get all caught up with each other. And let's see. Let's start with you, Dr. Steph.
With me? Yeah, what have I been up to? Okay, so I did a lot of flying last weekend. That was good. I think we did between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like 40 loads of skydivers.
Wow.
Still just sitting right seat and soaking up as much information and learning as much as I can. So lots and lots of fun. Definitely. And that really wasn't even that busy because of the holiday weekend. Yeah. So
was that in the twatter?
That was mostly in the twatter, yes.
Yeah,
a few loads in the Kodiak.
I noticed that the control columns are glued together.
They are glued together.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like having one huge, great big yoke.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, doesn't really feel that way when you're flying it, fortunately. So,
and
they
have
like that.
There's
up above,
the throttles
yeah,
are on
they're
the
up
ceiling.
here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Throttles are on the ceiling.
Excuse me, thrust levers.
It's
it's propeller driven, isn't it? Aren't they allowed to call on throttles?
It's not propeller. Well, propeller driven.
Is there a butterfly valve? I don't think so. Carburetors, butterfly valve?
No.
I mean, according to Captain Al's requirements.
Should be thrust lever, but it's actually labeled as the throttle.
Well, then in this case, we're going to call them throttles.
We'll blame Canada and de Havilland on that one.
Canada. Well, we always blame Canada.
So yeah, that was. I mean,
oh my!
Talking of Canada,
they can't hear what you're saying to me. Oh gosh! Wow, what a scream!
De Havilland t-shirt on. That's great. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. That was basically my entire weekend. Very hot days, but fortunately, up at 14,000 feet, it's a little bit cooler. Thankfully, so as long as you can just keep going, you don't have to spend a lot of as long as you don't have to spend a lot of time on the ground, not so bad. And fun story. Our friend of the show on the Plane Talking UK host Armando, he was also flying skydivers over the weekend, and definitely heard him on with Charlotte Approach at least once. So I was like, "Hey, that's Armando."
That guy.
That guy.
Yeah, Armando. Armando. Or one of those three.
Well, he was
just waiting for you two to have a mid-air, then we'll have something to talk about.
Fortunately, we're separated by like 80 miles, so it's not going to be an issue.
Armando.
Oh geez. Yeah, no, he was checking. He was leaving the frequency. Otherwise, I probably would have said something. But
I'm pretty sure the twatter can outrun the 182 if it needed to.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, but he's sneaky.
Yeah, he's a sneaky kind of character, so you never know what he's got up his sleeve.
Yeah. And then yeah, Saturday was 4th of July, and my town actually put on a fireworks show, which made it kind of interesting trying to get home afterwards. I didn't really want to watch the fireworks in town, but I had to drive past the place where they were going to be setting them off, and had it pretty limited to just they did allow people in, but only to a certain point. So if you didn't get there early enough, they were turning everyone away unless you live here. So I had to stop like 3 times to show my driver's license to just be like, yeah, I'm just going home. So that took a little extra time, and got here, sat around the fire pit, and all my neighbors were setting off their own fireworks anyway. So that was nice. Some nice professional looking fireworks in my own backyard. Fortunately, I think everyone survived with all their fingers, toes, and eyeballs. So success, great success.
Yes. Yay.
And what else? Oh my gosh, I think that's
so when
probably
you're driving around your special piece of paper that shows that you're an essential worker / podcaster.
Yeah, that's exactly how I get around.
Yeah.
That's
the way to do
it. Exactly. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. I think that was about it. Yeah, and then just right back into work, and it's been really busy at work still. So just playing catch up and trying to keep my head above water.
Well, I'm glad that you are.
Same here.
Captain Nick.
Yes, sir.
Any bowling going on there in England?
A bit of practice. Yeah, I've got a match on Saturday, so a singles match, first round. So I need to get myself clued up for that. More importantly, I did a photo shoot a few days back, and that was really nice. And I'm also eyeing up a new camera because Canon are bringing out their new range of mirrorless cameras, and I'm thinking of trying one out. So we've got Robert in the chat room wondering what he thinks of the R5 and the R6, which he would buy if he could. No, just a normal kind of a week, really. Not much going on. Jilly has decided to isolate herself again because she has had a recurrence of some symptoms, but we both actually think it's just the recovery can be a little bit hit and miss. You know, some days you feel good, some days not so good, and I just think she's just having a little bit of a roller coaster there. But we have received and sent off our test packs, so we will find out the results from that in a day or two. I'm pretty sure we're going to be clean, so that's good.
Are they the test you got to stab your brain with, or are they different ones?
No, you got to make yourself sick by swallowing a swab, and then you got to poke it up your nose until you sneeze and cover the table with yak.
That's the one he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, I'm good. I did one. That's enough.
Yeah, down the throat and up the nose. So no, it's not the most pleasant, particularly if you're doing it for yourself, because you think, bloody hell.
Yeah, I don't want to do this. Stop. I'm not going to do it.
Exactly right. And I'm not an expert in this, but it's all fairly simple. So we'll see about that.
Well, Nick, I need to ask you something. Do you get the email newsletter from B&H Photo?
I do now, but because I'm unlikely to get there in the near future, I tend to just skim them and then delete.
Because that's when you said something about Canon's new camera, I thought, I just received the newsletter from B&H, and it starts off by saying, just announced, Canon unleashes impressive R5 and R6 mirrorless cameras alongside 4 new RF lenses.
Exactly right. So I'm looking at the R6. I think it'll be better for the kind of photography I do. I would like to be able to afford the R5, but it's a very big sensor on that. I think it's 4 million pixels on that.
Wow.
Not
a cheap camera.
40 something million pixels. No, it's about $4,000, I think. $4,500.
Just for the body?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas
out of my loop.
Half that size, sensor size, which is still 20 million pixels, which is fine. Hamish says 45 megapixels, so that's very impressive. And for what I do, dog photography, you need speed rather than these vast. It's not like I'm doing great big landscapes, that sort of thing, where you'd want lots and lots of fine detail.
Gotcha.
Just got the photo, Steph.
Mm-hmm. Says throttle.
It does say throttle on the twatter overhead panel. All right.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yes.
So we're above 50%. Excellent.
So it's got
Okay,
3 sets of levers there. Which one do you move? All
Well,
3 of
hopefully the
them?
right one at the right time.
Okay.
Good answer.
They all got different texture too, though. So
Yeah,
I mean, you should be
yeah.
able to put your hand and feel it.
I mean,
know.
one is power, throttle, thrust lever,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Prop, fuel. Maybe you don't touch that one until you know.
Yeah, I
certain
don't think
you
you
wanna
want to touch
stop
that
for
one
good.
too much.
No.
Yeah.
So what are the yellow ones?
Fuel.
Oh, wow. Oh, mixture, you mean? Or do you actually mean they're fuel cocks?
No, I mean it's
It's
fuel. Mhm.
You lever.
Huh.
Just don't pull
course
it
that-
back. That'll
You know,
turn
I
off your fuel.
wouldn't have stuck them in line with all the other ones because I think to myself, if you want to
Just
put your
be
fuel,
pretty cautious which one you're.
yeah, I want to put them back almost out of reach. So you you really have to work to get to those. I don't know about you, Jeff. But I think I ought to be a cockpit designer in my spare time.
There you go. Maybe make a little money on the side, right?
Should write a letter to Haviland saying,
There you go.
"Yeah, I think your fuel cocks are in the wrong place."
Yeah, I'm sure they'd
I'm
be
sure they'll
very
take that
receptive
under
to your criticism.
advisement. For their 50-year-old
Right.
aircraft.
And you said you are doing some lawn bowling practicing, but no tournaments yet?
Yeah, well, I've through the first round of the handicap singles, and I'm playing my first round of the open singles on Saturday. So things are progressing nicely, and enjoying the new club, and seem to be doing okay there. So that's all. And the weather is a bit hit and miss, so it's okay, but it's not brilliant sunshine and not very warm at the moment, which is a bit of a shame.
Okay. Well, where Stephen and I are, it's very warm.
It is. It's a dry heat, though.
It is a dry heat. Yes, for sure. So I mentioned in the last couple of episodes. In fact, I should probably play that little sound clip that I have, shouldn't I? You just can't get. This just doesn't.
No satisfaction.
And of course, the most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip.
Road trip.
Indeed, road trip.
Yes. What did we decide this morning that we were going to call this now? Because we've been struggling with this.
Yeah,
We're on day 4.
I forgot.
Oh, what?
I don't remember what we said.
Oh, shoot. I've forgotten too.
It was Jeff and Stevens something road trip.
Oh no, it was Stephen's great location with Jeff in a sidecar.
No, that was yesterday.
Okay.
That was not this morning.
Okay.
The latest version was something else.
Okay.
And we thought, that's it. That's what we're going to call this from now on. But now neither of us remember.
And then we did something else.
Yeah, and then we moved on.
Yeah.
So we are on day 4 of the road trip, and I've been putting out little daily recaps of what we have been doing, where we have been and where we're going, and meeting up with people and eating. And we've been eating very well.
We have.
It's
been
been
very well.
Very good cuisine. And so we started a Monday morning and ended up in Shawnee, Oklahoma, which is just outside to the east of Oklahoma City. That was a long day.
That was a very long day.
The next day we made it to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and ended up meeting APG community member James Graves Brown at a really nice Mexican restaurant, a New Mexican restaurant.
Yes.
El Pinto. And had a nice meal there. It was fun. And then yesterday we drove from Albuquerque up here to Durango, which is where we are presently, and had we looked at some train museum. The reason why we're here is, well, Stephen's going to tell you why are we here, Stephen?
Yeah. We're here because I've been wanting to ride on the Durango Silverton Narrow Gorge Railway. It's one of the last
narrow gauge.
Yeah. One of the last few historical railroads that actually still use coal to fire the steam engines. Unfortunately, though, the one we were on today was oil powered, but you still get the fumes and the smoke effect when you're going down the line. But yeah, it was great. We did a tour yesterday of their yard and everything, where they actually take the engines apart to do maintenance. They had one torn down to the boiler section and everything. That was kind of cool to see. And then today we went. They don't have the full routes. I think it's 3.5 hours one way up their line, but because of COVID and just low demand, they're only doing like I think it's 2-hour round trip through
215. I think round trip.
Yeah, 215 through is actually probably the most scenic section. I mean, you pull out of the little yard they've got, and then you make a left-hand turn, and then it's like a drop off into the gorge down there where the river's at. And everything.
You're just along a sheer granite wall, and on the left of you, I mean, you just stick your arm out, you can actually touch the granite. Literally, you can really the granite. And if you look off the other side, if you are afraid of heights,
don't look
out that side because it's like a sheer drop all the way down. I don't know how many hundreds of feet to the river.
Yeah, I know one section he said there it's at least 400 feet straight down.
Yeah, it made me feel a little dizzy actually when I looked over the side. Anyway, incredibly gorgeous scenery. By the way, the train you could have gone on a diesel train or a steam powered train, and the steam locomotive, and that's what we did today. I think they said they have 8 steam locomotives and 7 of them are coal fired. But the one we were on today was one that they had just in the past year have converted to fuel oil. But it's not really technically powered by the fuel oil. The fuel oil heats up the water in the boiler, and it's a steam engine. So that old-fashioned steam engine sound with the whistle and everything else is just awesome.
Yeah, it's a great sound to hear. And then also this is the original locomotive from like the late. I think ours was from 1903 when it was originally
1902 I think was, and then they converted it to it was originally a standard gauge. And then they converted it to a narrow gauge in 1928, I think. It's really a thrill to hear the old steam engine sound and hear the whistle. Now, ironically, every time I try to do a video, I was hoping that you could hear the steam whistle in the background, and every single time I turned off the video, and then all of a sudden, they're blowing the steam horn. I thought, gosh darn it! But
I thought you'd be pretty used to that, Jeff. Don't you have one on the Mad Dog?
We do, but this one sounds a little bit different. The train versus the airplane model is a little bit different sounding.
Plus, you got the echo effect from the rocks and everything.
Yes, that's true.
All right.
By the way, Nick, that was really funny.
Good, very glad to hear. And since I managed to butt in there, can I just say a shout out to Chloe, Barry's 8-year-old daughter, who is listening live. So hi there, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
Hello.
All right. So we did the museum and all that kind of stuff in the train yard or whatever you call it yesterday, and had a pretty good meal last night. Eventually, we're going to eat here at this. They have a beer garden. We're right on that Animas River that we basically followed all the way up to Silverton on the train this morning, right outside the hotel here, and it was in direct sun. It was not cool, and
the food selection was not great.
Food selection was not great. The prices were a little pricey, and but just there wasn't really a lot of good selection there. So we decided let's go in town and eat at the Steamworks brewery, and we got there and they said, okay, it's a 50-minute wait.
But
we went ahead and waited anyway, and they basically took all of that 50 minutes. It was a long time, but it was worth it. The meal was really, really good.
The beer was good too.
And the beer was good. Yeah. What did you have?
I had the conductor. It's a habanero lager.
No, it was kind of burning something.
Oh, no. That's right. A conductor was the Imperial IPA. Controlled burn.
Controlled burn.
Yeah.
And it had some kind of
definitely controlled.
What kind of a chili pepper?
Habanero.
Yeah. Yeah. So, had a great meal last night, and then this morning we got up early and drove up to
Redwood. Oh, is it Rockwood?
Rockwood.
That's it.
Yeah. Rockwood, and that's where we got on the train and did the thing. Came back here, and
here we are.
Yep. Yeah. So that's day 4, and we again make sure you follow us on the social medias, because I'm making these crew logs available for everyone. Whether you're a patron or not, just to kind of keep track of our progress on this trip. Now, tomorrow we will be leaving early in the morning, right? heading up to.
We're leaving tomorrow. Going to be driving over to Moab to go to Arches National Park. Probably going to spend the better part of the day trying to drive around there, and then staying in Moab. And then I think from there, the following day, we're going to go try and do Canyonlands, and then drive on down to Hurricane, or I believe I've been
Hurricane.
told Hurricane. Or
Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Like Herkin.
Yeah.
Hurricane.
And then I haven't figured this part out yet, because I was looking at the drive time going actually to the North Rim, because the forest fire had been cleared, so you can actually go to the North Rim now. But if we go to the North Rim and then drive to the South Rim where we're staying, it's about 12 hours worth of driving, and I don't think we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to have to flip a coin and see which.
I mean, if you want to, Stephen, it's your car, it's your journey. I'm just along for the ride.
I don't think we'll make it, to be honest.
Although I'll have a lot of editing to do. So
we'll see. Maybe it'll work out then. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it'll work out. And not then. Wait, are you saying I'm driving the whole 12 hours?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
All right. Well,
unless you want me to be editing while I'm driving.
No, probably not a good idea.
Probably not. It's your car. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so then we're gonna go try the tip both rooms of Grand Canyon, and then the following day go out towards Death Valley, and then from there go through the actual valley, go to the Star Wars Canyon, which is where the fighter jets kind of maneuver through there. Hopefully we'll see one. Probably won't, but it'll be worth going to go see. And then on our way down to Long Beach, where we're going to stay basically end the trip, because I've got stuff I actually have to do.
Yeah.
So,
lots of stuff you got to do.
Yeah, lots of stuff. Yeah, that list keeps growing too.
And I think I mentioned last week on last episode that on Wednesday night I'm boarding the Sunset Limited, the Amtrak train from Los Angeles to New Orleans, and I'm going to do more train stuff. This is becoming a very trainy kind of trip. So
Maybe a train aficionado.
A train aficionado. Yes. So I'm not one yet. Stephen is, but I'm not yet.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. And I'll continue to pump out crew logs to kind of keep everybody along with me on my journey.
Make sure you haven't been abducted.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What else? There was something I just remembered, and I thought I should mention that. I should write these things down.
Yeah, it would help.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably think of it at some point.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So anything else that we should talk about, crew, before we move on?
I don't think so.
No. I've had a haircut.
Liz just told me that somebody was asking about whether or not we're going to have a meetup in Southern California. And we're kind of going back and forth on that one. We're not sure, because California has gone kind of much more restrictive again for the Rona. And I'm not sure that it would be a great idea.
Yeah, we don't necessarily want to draw attention to ourselves, because I mean, if it's if you put something out that you don't really know is going to show up, and then before we were talking about having it's kind of in an area where there's a lot of traffic, and if someone gets upset, we don't really want to have the police called and show up and all that. So
we were thinking about doing it at the same place that Cranky Geeks does the In-N-Out burger.
Yeah.
Cranky Flyer, I'm sorry. Cranky Geeks. That's something else. There is actually something called Cranky Geeks, but that has nothing to do with aviation.
Yeah.
Cranky Flyer, In-N-Out burger on the final for
LAX.
Yeah, on the north side of LAX.
Left and right. And but then we learned that In-N-Out burger's not even available for dine-in.
Yeah, so you have to go through the drive-through, so that you have to have a car.
Yeah,
and then if anyone knows, In-N-Out's out to the roadway anyway, so you're going to wait an hour for your burger probably. Anyway,
Exactly.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I think that they're disallowing any groups of more than 10
to hang out right there on the property. Yeah, probably.
I think that's just the state.
The state.
Or CDC, whatever.
I don't know. So, keep your eye on the social medias. If we decide to do something like a public kind of a meetup, we'll let you know. But right now, you can probably tell that we're kind of thinking maybe not.
Not a great idea.
Yeah. Maybe not yet time. Anyway, as Tim Van Ram just said, Southern California is a hot spot for COVID right now. Meetup not advised. All right. So now it's official. Tim Van Ram just prognosticated Or no, that's not the right word. He just basically told us, don't do it. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Advised. Thank you, Liz. All right. Well, with that, then I think it's time now for us to move on to the coffee fund.
Johnny, how much more coffee? No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Why not buy us a cup of coffee and become part of the Coffee Fund cadre and support our podcast financially, like so many awesome people do already? And a couple different ways to do that. We have the Coffee Fund Classic method. And since the last episode, we have David Jackson, Randy Ackerman, William Driver, Rich from Sheffield, and Casey Christ, or Christ, C-H-R-I-S-T. I would say Christ. So thank you, Casey and Rich and William and Randolph and David for using the APG Coffee Fund Classic method. The other way to do it is become a patron of the show via Patreon. That's patreon.com/Airline Pilot Guy. And we have a new producer, Lucas. So thank you. Welcome to the patrons at Patreon, Lucas. So, hey, if you want to also join this great group of folks supporting us financially, please head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee, where you'll learn how you can sign up for all this. And we think you'll be glad you did. And we will be too.
Captain, incoming message.
All right, on feedback. We're just like going like gangbusters here. Anybody need to take a break?
I think Nick just did.
Okay. Here, let me see. Let me pull up StreamYard and see what's going on here.
Well, he
there he is. He's
excused himself. Yeah. Yeah, maybe a quick 30-second break.
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Right.
And I can crunch on. So these crackers make a lot of noise. I better mute my microphone. Don't hear you, Nick. I can't hear you.
I'll say that it's okay. We're already getting you 50% what you're saying anyway. So don't worry about it.
Really, is it that bad?
No, it's fine.
Are the people in the chat room saying anything about that? That we're breaking?
No one's commented negatively. I think it's just struggling to get over the Atlantic today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Have we forgotten anything?
Pardon me?
Have we forgotten anything?
Have we forgotten anything?
Yeah. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
But because we can't remember it at this moment, it's really hard to know whether you've forgotten it.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure we've forgotten something. And there was a thought that I had, and I thought I should mention that. And then it's gone.
Are you doing the coffee fund at another time? Is that what happened?
No, I just did it when you were gone.
God, you were quick.
Well,
normally I've got time to visit the small room and grab a beer, and you're still cackling on. So that was good.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cackling on.
Cackling?
Yeah.
That sounds flattering.
I'm going to assume that's a very
it's an old English term for speaking smoothly.
A term of endearment, for sure.
There we go.
Thank you, Liz. Liz, I said it was hard for me to hear you last time. Now you're coming in really powerfully, so you can back off if you'd like.
Back off, Liz.
I didn't think I heard her one time.
Well, you guys can.
Yeah. No, you had your.
I could hear her all the way from
my
Canada.
Yeah, through the headphones.
There you go. That's
through the microphone.
That's a good indication that you're really loud. But see, never mind. Too much background information. Nobody really wants to know.
That's what we forgot.
Shut up, Jeff.
What's that?
My background. But that's okay because yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's okay though. That's okay.
No, we're going to do that.
No, it's okay.
No, people want to know what's going on with you. Why?
It's
why,
true. It's true. Why are you
Yep.
here?
It's true.
Who are you?
Here? What the heck? Yep.
That's true.
See? Okay.
We don't have
so
to.
We're coming into the feedback. Well, whether you want to or not.
Okay. Well.
All right. All right. I know we just played the feedback bumper, but before we go to the first piece of feedback that we have, I neglected to mention or ask Stephen, because we talked about it at the very beginning of the show, and then we went right past it.
We were trekking along. Just moving right along.
So Stephen, my cohort in the from Atlanta to the West Coast trip here, he is a big part of our community. He's been listening to the show for many years. And I've known him for quite some time, and I think all the crew has. And you've been at some of the big meetups we've had, and also some of the minor meetups. So, and you've actually been on some other podcasts as well.
Yeah, I've been on the PT UK a couple times. I've actually visited them in person too. So
yeah, that's one thing I haven't done yet. So got me beat on that in that respect. But anyway, tell everybody about you.
Yeah, so I fly for Acme Junior. I'm a CRJ first officer. Currently based up in Chicago. And then my background, I used to do project management for the power company, and that's how I paid for my pilot training. And then I eventually just got tired of it one day because of some changes, and I basically just found a flying gig, did aerial survey to get my time in, and then I started my airline about it'll be 2 years in next month, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So, before all this happened, I was based in Atlanta, and obviously with all this going on, they closed our base and just have had a large reduction of flying like everybody else. You know, it's just sign of the times. However, I was actually supposed to upgrade to the left seat back in April, but that got canceled because they didn't need anybody anymore. Well, they need people, but they didn't need them at that time. So. But I elected to go ahead and start looking for work just to head this off because that's just kind of person I am. I don't like to really deal with unemployment and then searching for work because I don't like job interviews to begin with. So when there's extra pressure because you need a job, it doesn't help. So I applied to a couple of places and I heard back from somebody. They're just going to call them Acme. So they offered me a job, kind of doing what I was doing for the power company, just for them instead. Unfortunately, that job is located in Southern California, so I'm having to relocate across the country. That's why we're doing this road trip. So just in the process of getting out there and everything, and hopefully I'll get rebased out to the West Coast so I don't have to commute to Chicago for work. I'm still going to fly. I'm not going to fly nowhere near as much as I am now. Probably once or twice a month, if that, just to keep current and keep my benefits up and all that. But
very smart.
Yeah, but I'm probably going to be doing this for the foreseeable future. I mean, just me personally, I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of hiring at the majors in the next couple of years. It'll be at least 2 or 3 years before anything picks back up. So I might as well go try and make a little extra cash, pay off all my student loans and all that, and kind of work towards just getting financially stable and still
student loans. You actually went to college?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, I'd never have known it.
Yep. Computer science degree. I don't use it.
Just kidding. That was a joke. Oh, wow. Computer science. Wow.
Yeah. Don't worry, Stephen. The rest of us can tell. It's all right.
Oh, thank you.
I can too.
Highly educated.
It was a joke, but nobody laughed.
Yeah.
Here, wait.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Somebody did finally. All right. Well, good. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. That if you want to know more, go dig around for those PT UK episodes, and then or when I've provided some feedback for Airline Pilot Guy.
There you go. Most excellent. And the most important thing about Stephen that he really didn't mention is that he really appreciates good craft beer.
Oh yeah, I do. That is a fact.
Yeah,
this is true. Mm-hmm.
I in Atlanta, I would bid my overnights based on what craft breweries were available for the cities we're at.
Yeah, one of the most fun. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
One of the most fun little area meetups that we had in Atlanta was that when we went to Scofflaw.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was their first year anniversary.
That was the first year anniversary.
Yeah, so I had a lot of special.
That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Beers. Yes.
No,
I thought you were going to add one more thing.
I was going to add a thing saying that Stephen managed to hook up with me a few times on my Atlanta trips, and we always, I always got taken to the most fabulous drinking establishments. I always look forward to having a few beers with Stephen in ATL. It was great.
Basically, he's a drunk. Yeah, as you're probably gathering.
I mean, the last time I saw
kidding.
Stephen, we were in Asheville at a brewery.
That is
and
true.
that wasn't very long ago. That was like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Just a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Oh well.
We're just joking, of course.
I mean, everybody's
We're not joking.
All right. Yeah, I don't think it says anything about the rest of us either. Like we're all in this boat together.
We're all teetotalers here.
That's right.
We have any more beer?
Yeah.
What is this stuff in the bottom of my glass?
I think that's the peanut butter and jelly they use to make the beer. Oh, yeah, that's what we're having. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a North Carolina brewery, Catawba, out of kind of near Asheville.
I'm kind of afraid to drink that.
To be honest, it looks like something that if I had a little bit of vomit.
Yep.
It kind of looks like little chunks that you'd have, like if you had a little something come up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to have any more.
No. I'll
You're welcome.
I'll take care of this, and then you do feedback.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, thanks for sharing that, Jeff. You're welcome. Okay. With that, Jim, let's move on to our feedback. And the first item that we have in our feedback notebook is from Gus. He says, he sent us a link to twitter.com, and it's actually a little audio link, and it's a U.S. Air Force plane. It's an E-4B, I think, squawking 1776 on the 4th of July here in the U.S. of A. So let's listen to that.
Merca 01, level 250, squawking 1776. Merca 1, Kansas City, right?
Merca 1 is his call sign. M-U-R-C-A. Merca. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was
I didn't hear the controller putting 2 and 2 together there.
I think he's probably thinking this is stupid, so I'm not even going to comment on it. Thank you, Stephen. This is Lion Cake double dry hopped.
Oh, it's a triple. I'm sorry, I thought it was a double. It's a triple IPA from.
Oh, it's a triple IPA.
Very nice.
Double hopped.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, what's the alcohol?
What's the percentage on that?
10%.
10%. Oh boy.
We better get through the rest of these. The rest of the
Maybe
feedback
I should
here
drink
quickly.
this.
Quickly.
I've got 3 more of these. Don't worry.
All right, I'm just gonna. Liz is encouraging us to drink it.
Do it.
Thanks, Liz. All right. So thanks, Gus, for sending us a link to that Twitter post. Moving on, Greg, item 2. Is this our big ass fan, Greg? Yes, it is. Greg Peterson. He says, I thought this article was interesting because it was similar to the one you guys covered sometime back when a technician miscalculated the amount of biocide that needed to be added to the fuel. The other thing I thought was interesting was that it says Cathon FP 1.5, quote, has since been withdrawn from aviation use following other engine thrust incidents, unquote. Yeah, people are kind of screwing things up with this biocide treatment. Japanese investors, this is from flightglobal.com. Japanese investigators believe the biocide treatment of fuel on a Jetstar Airways Boeing 787-8 led to the aircraft losing thrust in both engines during a service to Osaka's Kansai Airport 2 days later. The aircraft, Victor Hotel Victor Kilo Juliet, had departed Cairns on 29 March of last year as it descended through 16,100 feet or 4,900 meters towards Kansai. Kansai. The crew started to receive instability indications from the right-hand General Electric GE NX-1B engine. These were followed by a failure message for the left-hand engine a few minutes later at about 11,800 feet, and then a similar failure message for the right-hand engine. Both messages subsequently disappeared, but the aircraft systems recorded that the left engine had been operating below idle thrust for 8 seconds and the right engine for 81 seconds. Engine indications received by the 787 crew as the aircraft descended to, oh, I'm sorry, that's the that's the caption for the little photo here they have. Normally what I do is I will make that italic so I can tell what I'm supposed to read and what I'm not supposed to. Oh well. As a result of the right engine's unstable performance, the crew disengaged the right-hand auto throttle and set the right-hand thrust lever to idle. The jet landed safely at Kansai about 20 minutes later, and none of the 313 occupants were injured. Japan Transport Safety Board investigators found that an accumulation of magnesium salts, like the Epsom salts that you put in the
salts
bathtub,
from last night,
had impeded the movement of spools within the engines, destabilizing the fuel metering and leading to engine speed oscillations sufficient to dip temporarily below idle. Similar oscillations, not large enough to be detected, had been occurring on the aircraft since it underwent biocide treatment at Auckland 2 days before the incident. The biocide was introduced by uplifting 25,000 kilograms of fuel to the is that right? Kilograms? Yeah. Of fuel to the center tank, plus 4,000 kilograms to the left wing tank, 3,500 kilograms to the right wing tank. Owing to differing quantities of residual fuel already present in each wing tank, the concentration of biocide for this additionally uplifted fuel had to be individually calculated in order to achieve the 100 parts per million required. The inquiry says a concentration of 250 parts per million was needed for the left tank and 285 parts per million for the right. But it says there was no record of the actual calculation made or the dosage used during the treatment. Quote,
they just eyeballed it?
Yeah, that should do it.
Because nothing bad ever happens when you eyeball it.
No. Totally fine.
And, nobody needs to record it. I mean,
no,
it's no big deal.
At all.
Yeah. Let's see. The investigators also believe the added fuel with the higher biocide concentrations did not mix evenly. Well, they didn't do this like banking like really fast back and forth.
Like
and
the shake and bake.
Just shake and bake the whole thing. No, apparently they didn't do that. So yeah, it didn't mix evenly with the residual fuel in the tanks, and then probably pooled to a certain area and then fed the high biocide concentration.
Clogged the lines, or maybe the injectors or something clogged, obviously.
Something clogged, that's for sure. Let's see. All 3 fuel tanks were treated with Cathon FP 1.5, a biocide, which has since been withdrawn from aviation use following other engine thrust incidents. So I would imagine we're probably going to see more of these because there are a lot of airplanes that have been put into short and long-term storage, and I would imagine that
like let it just sit up and cake up in there, and
or just maybe they need to do that. I don't know if is that a
do the treatment
thing?
And then just being I don't exactly know. I'm assuming like biocide is some kind of cleaning agent for engines, correct?
Yeah, it gets rid of the mold, or
was it fungus or something that grows in some sort of something living growing in there that you need to get rid of.
Okay. It's okay. So the official word is from our what do we call you? Producer. I wanted to say controller. She's in the control room. Our producer director. She says it officially treats a fungus among us.
Yeah. I just looked it up now. Kills microbacteria growth and fungi, including hydrocarbon utilizing microorganisms or HUM bugs that live in the water phase of a fuel tank.
I'm suggesting in this case the treatment is possibly worse than the disease.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, if you get the treatment right, then that's important. But if you screw it up, I mean, you can say a lot of the same thing about what I do in the world of medicine. Doing things correctly is good. Incorrectly can cause harm.
Well, it's just that we haven't heard of any incidents of aircraft being having double engine problems because of fungus in the tanks. So I'm just wondering if people are being just a little bit overzealous. They're certainly not careful enough with the treatment. They don't realize perhaps how dangerous it can be.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they just need better procedures for doing this.
Yep.
Clearly they do.
Yeah, clearly they do. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And by the way, Stephen.
Yes.
We full-time regular co-hosts are so professional that we always do our research before the show and not while we're actually doing the show, as you just did. So I just wanted to warn you that but I'm sorry, I'm getting some interference from the Talkback channel. Might have to disconnect it. Liz is saying, no, you don't.
I was just curious because I've never heard of this stuff before, and I wanted to know.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to make fun of you because that's what I do.
Yeah, I'm picking up on that. Thanks.
he's learned a lot about that in these last few days.
Spent a couple days in close proximity to one another.
I tell you how many times I said something and he thinks that I'm being serious. And I said, remember, Stephen, 90% at least of the stuff that I say is probably not being serious. So don't believe what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, it's that 10% you want to watch out for.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's just knowing the difference between when I'm joking and when I'm not. That's the hard part, I think. So we're going to skip item 3 because that one is going to be more suited for Miami Rick when he joins us. So we'll skip to item 4 from Ahmad. Let's see, this is from, he gives us a link to futurism.com. Interesting article. We talked about this a couple days ago.
On the drive.
On the drive. Yeah, so this guy, the headline is, this scientist says he's built a jet engine that turns electricity directly into thrust. If this plasma propulsion tech is real, it could change everything. And this is written by Dan Robitsky. Again, futurism.com is the website where this was found. This past autumn, a professor at Wuhan University named Zhao Tang was hard at work piercing together a thruster prototype that at first sounds too good to be true. The basic idea, he said in an interview, is that his device turns electricity directly into thrust, no fossil fuels required, by using microwaves to energize compressed air into a plasma state and shooting it out like a jet. He said, without a hint of self-aggrandizement, that it could likely be scaled up enough to fly large commercial passenger planes. Eventually, he says, it might even power spaceships. Now, you'll notice that it requires a microwave to energize the plasma, and the problem is these microwaves are kind of bulky.
Yeah,
it's hard to fit a bunch of those microwaves on an airplane.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Well, they could just use the ones in the galley, couldn't they?
They could, but then I don't.
I mean, you could heat up the food at the same time as you produce.
Win-win.
Yeah, have
2 words, 1 stone.
Yeah, I don't have microwave. I didn't have a microwave in my plane.
I didn't have one either.
Had just a regular.
You had one
oven.
in yours, Nick?
Just an oven.
Oh man, I've got everything.
Oh. Everything. Oh, okay.
Everything.
They had like latte machine, like espresso machines, and didn't you, Nick?
Yeah, we had espresso, and to be fair, the ovens weren't microwaves. I think that's probably a bit.
Well, at least you had an oven.
We had steam heat ovens, so but they did a good job. Yeah, we had lovely coffee makers on the aircraft. Yeah, very
I thought when he said steam heat, he was making fun of the airplane.
Yeah, I thought he was about to too. Yeah.
No. I'm going to make fun of Mr. Tang or Professor Tang, but there you go.
Well, please do, because
please
if
do,
you read
we'll toss it to you.
Well, it's just that this, as you read a bit further in the article, this is hardly a new idea because it's been around for quite a while, this is just a reimagination of the system of turning plasma into a jet propulsion, and they sort of done a little bit of mathematics as to work out what kind of a battery load you'd need to be able to create the electrical energy to say something of the size of an A320 fly around, and the A320 can normally carry about 130 of the giant battery units you'd need, but actually to fly for an hour you'd need 570 of these, and the battery units they're comparing are the Tesla Powerwall 2 units, and you need 570 of those for a single hour of flight, and the aircraft can only carry 130, which means it's just a flying battery and not one that's terribly practical at that. So we're going to have to develop an awful lot of things before we can progress with the engine, because you're going to have to find a suitable electrical source, and that is a long way from being invented. Although they're working on it, but at the moment there's no real way to find it. You need 7,800 kilowatts of power, because the normal technology of a decent set of batteries produce about let me see. I'm sorry. A normal jet engine produces 220,000 newtons of thrust, meaning that a comparable sized jet engine powered by Mr. Tang's jets would require 7,800 kilowatts. Now, you're sitting beside a chap that worked in an electrical power plant. Could you quantify that for us, Stevens?
I mean, I think when we were talking about the other day, he was getting into how he's going to have a lot of copper wiring and get it from, I guess, the batteries to the microwave the batteries to the engine before you spit it out. And I was telling Jeff that, you get to a certain point with electricity that you start vaporizing things. So for the plant I worked at, anything that's generally above 100 kV is going to start vaporizing flesh. So
I mean, that's good. Yeah, 100 kV, that's a lot.
I shouldn't worry. There's so many batteries needed that you're not have room for passengers.
Yeah, exactly. And then not only that, I mean,
carrying batteries around.
And then you got to think
microwaves.
I'm sorry. You got to think of the transfer between one breaker to another. I mean, I know my plane, you can hear it click over, and it's not quiet. It's a thud, and then when it doesn't, you lose power. So, and when you're doing that, there's a risk of fire and arc. So if you're transferring that much power, do you really want your aircraft with the possibility of catching on fire because your breaker arced off? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's going to be like one of those old Frankenstein movies, isn't it? Where you see the guy with great big circuit breakers or great levers going ka-chung, 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 and bringing everything online. Sparks everywhere, and terrifying.
Yeah, I think they got a long way to go before they do that. I think if he wants some help with it, he probably just needs to watch Star Wars, or I think it's the encyclopedia for Star Wars. It actually spells out what you need to run a Star Destroyer. So maybe he needs to look at that. Get some ideas.
Well, maybe he did, and that's where he got his idea for this.
Drop some schematics and diagrams.
Yeah.
So the writers of the article don't think that Mr. Tang's ideas are actually going to scale up successfully. Sadly,
maybe for like a light sport or a Cessna 150, where you want to stay in the pattern, because that's about as far as you're going to go.
Not go very far.
We do have some critical thinkers in our chat room. iHall boxes. Where do you where do you draw the power for the microwave from? And then, of course, Greg, big ass fan guy, says a very long extension cord. So,
I thought Greg would have thought. I thought he would have said, "Well, you stick a couple of my fans on the front of your airplane. The wind blows them around, and it generates electricity to feed the engines." So that would work, wouldn't it?
I mean, that's not a horrible idea. I mean, that's what rats are. So
that's right. So
I thought
why
rats
don't we do it that way?
That had like these long.
No, the
tails,
the ram air turbine. In the
front
of your plane.
That kind of rat. Gotcha.
That kind of rat.
Yeah. So basically, the guy that came up with this brilliant idea. I'm sorry. iHall boxes. Next article: Mr. Tang vaporized himself.
And I just saw Neil Lawrence mentioned Mr. Fusion. I think that was actually mentioned in the article.
In the article, it talks about Mr. Fusion from Back to the Future, and something else too. What was I just saw it.
I mean, according to Back to the Future, we should.
Iron Man's suit was powered by an arc reactor, and the flying DeLorean was powered by Mr. Fusion.
Yeah. A couple little minor,
both of which, unfortunately, fictional.
Yeah. But I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah. Assumptions are being made by Mr. Tang that battery technology is going to take huge leaps. I'm sure it will, in the future, but not that much.
If it's anything like the battery that powers my Wi-Fi in the room, they got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad.
Sad.
It's a sad situation.
It is a sad situation. I have not played that in quite some time. Let's see if I can even find it. And now we have some dead air. While I'm trying to find sad situation. Do I even have it in here anymore?
You got rid of sad situation.
Oh no,
that's a sad situation.
That is
that's a very sad.
That just shows you I haven't played it in a while because I've taken it out. It just got. Oh well, I'll have to put it. I have to put it back in sometime.
That's what she said.
All right, let's move on to. I crack myself up sometimes. All right.
What? No.
Well, I'm glad someone finds it funny.
I know. Item 5. Moving on quickly here. Mike writes in. He says, "Oh, this is Mike Lawrence up in Ontario, right? Toronto, Ontario, that area. Is that right, Liz? London, Ontario. Thank you." So he sends us this link to, okay, well, I guess the title of the feedback is Historic Harvard Delivers 100th Birthday Cards. And then he gives us a link to a TV station video. And I don't think I ended up getting that. I don't think it's really worth playing. But anyway, if you want to, what
was that?
I don't know, some kind of a sound effect that I didn't push. It's like it sounds like somebody taking the cap off of a bottle or something.
I should have opened this in front of everybody.
Oh, it's nice.
So, does Nick know that he's not muted?
I think he's well aware, actually.
Fully aware. Fully aware. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Nick, we're still doing the show. Talking about, this historic Harvard.
This is awful, but it's fun. So Mike Lawrence says, what wasn't made clear in this video of this historic Harvard delivering 100th birthday cards is, or even mentioned by City TV, was that a box of birthday cards for Lieutenant Nick will know that pronounced. Oh, I'm left. I even mispronounced it, even though I knew that I was not supposed to do that. Lieutenant from Southwest Ontario was carried to Oshawa from our base in Tillsonburg. Oshawa. I should have known better. Thank you.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable.
It's so nice to have Liz in my ear correcting all my mistakes. So you can imagine it's pretty much a continuous conversation from her into my ear because I make very, very large and consistent and constant mistakes by our MK2. So I'm guessing that's a Mark II.
That's Mark II.
Which is itself.
I like your version now. The MK2.
So I could say, no, that's a Mickey. MKII. MKII. Harvard, which is in itself a well-ear veteran. Now, is that right? Veteran?
Well-worn veteran?
Oh, I know what it is.
World War II.
World War II veteran.
Oh.
Yeah, that one was not my fault.
That's the type, yeah.
That's
a dictation error if I ever saw one.
That's probably so.
Anyway,
so let me read
dictation
that.
Errors every day.
Let me read that sentence over. Maybe I shouldn't. What wasn't made clear or even mentioned by City TV was that a box of birthday cards for Lieutenant Hannah from Southwest Ontario was carried to Oshawa from our base in Tillsonburg by our Mark II Harvard, which is itself a World War II veteran. That's APG scoop on the Canadian news media. Haha, Mike. Okay, so we should mention, if you want to listen to this, let's see, the story. Let's go to the story. A little scroll down. 100 cards for a 100th birthday celebration. This is from Oshawa Express .ca. Oshawa resident Harvard Armor Hannah. Armor. Armour, Hannah, will be turning 100 on Canada Day, July 1st. And longtime friend Jen Madigan is asking for 100 birthday cards to help make his day extra special. That's the caption for this very nice photo of Mr. Hannah in his wheelchair. A longtime Oshawa resident is celebrating a century, and a close friend wants to help make it extra special. So if you want to read more about that, it was very cool. Apparently they got a lot more than just 100 cards.
Yeah.
So again, all that information linked to that TV video as well as the article will be in the show notes. But we just wanted to mention that Mike, the reason why he's pointing out stuff that has to do with the Harvard World War II veteran is that he is he's a vice president of the CHAA, the Canadian Harvard Aircraft Association. And there's information in the show notes if you'd like to learn more about that organization, harvards.com, where you can vote, donate, and etc. Go ahead, Liz. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The Harvard in Canada is what we U.S. people would call the Texan.
That's correct.
Same airplane. Anyway, so he's actually the vice president of the Canadian Harvard Aircraft Association. He's also the interim chair of the fundraising committee, and I'm a member of the service crew who assist with briefing our backseat passengers on the parachute operation if it should ever be needed, the safety policies and procedures we follow, and how to get into and out of the aircraft. We also perform basic tasks like checking the oil, cleaning and preparing the aircraft, walk-arounds, and doing the ground marshaling when it shows or events. Below, and there's a picture in here, which if you go to the show notes, you'll see Mike Lawrence there in his snappy looking red shirt and orange cap and orange gloves, marshaling a couple of these Harvards before they're about to head out for a formation flight. So thank you, Mike, for sending in the information. A nice feel-good story for Mr. Hannah and his 100th birthday. And please check it out, ITSN, in the show notes. Anything to be said otherwise before we move on?
No, I just think you might want to, after everything, all the COVID goes away, you might want to go try and visit and get a Harvard ride. It sounds like he might be able to hook you up.
Oh, yeah, too. That's nice.
Maybe get Liz in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just make sure that she doesn't wear a parachute. Okay.
Well, she knows how to operate the.
Yeah.
She's been briefed.
Oh, shoot. She heard that.
Oh,
she's listening. Dang. Okay. Item number 6. Stan says a few words about episode 431. Uh-oh.
It's more than a few. Few's 3 or so.
Yeah. It's many, I'd say.
Many. Yes.
First of all, I've attached a 2-second video clip with a few words about the pilot who violated Vegas class Bravo. I'm sorry. So, and I'm not going to even, it's going to be too much effort for me to actually play this video because it literally is only 2 seconds long. And the person in the video is basically going, no. It is funny, though. You should watch it by going to the show notes. So anyway, the class Bravo violator, he says, I hear he actually flies out of Zamperini, where I'm based. I think we mentioned that on the last episode.
Maybe Stan's this guy. He's just not telling us.
No, Stan, were you flying? Was it a Cardinal?
1 November Romeo. It was a
Centurion.
Centurion.
Were you flying a Centurion a few weeks ago in Las Vegas area? Just wondering.
Yeah.
Steven is anyway.
Yeah, just wondering.
In addition to thanking the whole crew for an excellent show, I also wanted to say I really enjoyed this week's Plain Tales, even though I suspected the issue linking the 3 case studies. It was an excellent story. No, it was excellent storytelling. And I really liked the background music. Yeah, Nick does a great job with producing these things and picking out great music. Yeah. Since my last feedback, I have passed my instrument and commercial check rides. Yay! And I'm now starting a proper job. I'm now starting on multi-engine and CFI training. Thanks again for all the time you put into the show. Stanley Stanimal.
Yeah, we're not going to let you. Yeah, will forever always be Stanimal now.
Yeah, don't even say Stan when you send in feedback anymore.
No.
Just say
Stanimal.
He's a Stanimal. Anyway.
And not to steal the, yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations on your instrument and commercial check rides. That's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
Well, we know it's not him now, though, because he just passed all that. If it was him, he wouldn't have passed all that.
Yeah, he would not have.
He would have just told the DPE no.
Yeah.
Negative.
Unable.
He didn't even say unable, just negative and no.
It was just no.
Oh, you're talking about the Class B.
Yeah.
No, I'm busy flying the plane.
I thought you were talking about Stanimal.
I can't copy down a number. I'm flying them.
I'm flying. I'm going to try that next time because it happens very often when ATC says copy down this number. Unable. Why
negative.
Not? I'm flying. Negative.
Hey, while we're giving out congratulations for past check rides, John Carlo Peñas in the Facebook chat room recently passed his private pilot check ride. So,
yay!
Wanted to say congratulations for that.
Will you guys stop passing things? My hands are getting sore.
Quit being so darn successful out there.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Hey, we love it.
I wanted some feedback from someone who's just failed at one.
Oh,
yeah, we can play this instead.
Yeah, that's so sad.
I don't know. Sometimes there's things to be learned from those types of stories because it does happen. You know, if anyone's got a good, lesson learned story that they want to share with the,
Yeah, Bob writes in, and he took his private pilot check ride, and unfortunately, he failed.
Is that Bob Barker?
Uh-oh.
Maybe that's why I decided to make the fictional person Bob. I don't know.
I'd be impressed, Bob Barker.
Yeah. Me too, since he's been dead for a while.
He didn't die.
Oh, he's not?
Did he?
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy.
I thought he had. Maybe not. Maybe he's... Okay. Liz says, edit that out, Jeff. Yeah. Mark the time right there, Liz. And
yeah, he's 96 years old.
96?
He's 96.
Well, he should be dead.
He's somewhere going, I'm not dead yet.
You
will be soon.
Bob Barker, I love you. I really do. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're not going to let you on that show ever. You know?
Oh, I know.
No.
Shoot.
Permanent ban from Price is Right.
Oh, no. So Steven's reacting to what Liz just said. So much for the coffee fund being in as well. Yeah. All right. Item 7. Darren. Is it time for Plain Tales chat?
I hope so.
Let's do this one because
we're not even close. She says.
Even worse.
Okay, let's keep going on. Darren says, "Hi, APG crew. I wrote in recently to tell my story about addiction recovery and how much I loved Ian Palmer's story. Thank you for reading my message and the kind words you all said. On a separate note, I build model airplanes and listen to old APG episodes while I'm working on them. I was listening to an episode yesterday where I found out Captain Nick used to fly F4 Phantoms. I literally just finished building a nice 132 scale F4 yesterday, so I thought Nick might appreciate some pictures. Keep in mind, I did have to deviate from instructions here and there. Plus, I added some artistic license, so it may not be 100% technically accurate, but I still think it looks pretty good."
Yeah, now, Darren, I did notice that the pilot's supposed to be in the front seat, mate. So
and the horizontal stabilizer, isn't that usually in the back on the tail? Not
normally on the tail, not on the radar. But other than that, it looks pretty good.
It really does.
Isn't it a classic looking airplane? Isn't it?
Really impressed with the detail on these models.
It looks absolutely great.
And I don't think I have the patience or the fine motor skills to put on.
No, I wrote back and said I really admired the detail in the cockpit because it just looks so realistic, right down to the stick top and everything. It looks absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing. In fact, if I didn't see like the desk that he has the model on, I mean, if you put that on something that looked like concrete or whatever, I would think that was actually the real airplane.
Oh yeah, it's got all the dirt marks and things on it as well. That's great. Yeah, great job.
All the hydraulic leak stains on the ailerons.
No, not enough.
Not enough.
Just a leak a lot
Too
more
clean.
than that.
It was recently washed.
It does. Yeah, it looks like one that's just come out of a wash hanger.
I do like that one random panel on the top there that's all nice and shiny. Then right behind it, there's a bunch of dirt.
Because that's actually probably something you would really see because they replaced that panel.
Yeah, exactly.
Newly painted. Yeah, it's very well done. Very talented.
And it's got the color of the titanium looking really good because it really does look exactly like that. And the leading edge device on the tailplane is perfect. I mean, just looks so cool.
And he said he was going to send this model to you for his gratitude, Nick. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that.
Well, you might need to repaint it in RAF colors, and then I'll happily have that on my desk.
Yeah, this one's painted in the U.S. Marine Corps colors. Great job.
With shamrocks on the tails, which I guess is something that the unit had. Yeah. Although if I'd want a shamrock on my tail, I'd want a 4-leaf one because they're the lucky ones.
Yeah.
I thought you told me you wanted a shamrock up your tail.
Oh,
yeah, that too.
Wow. All right. Yeah. So thanks, Darren, for the
very nice. And again, congratulations for your hard work in keeping control of your situation. So well done, mate.
Yep. Too bad we can't keep control of our own here.
Yeah.
I was actually just about to write to Liz. I don't have any idea what's going on anymore. We've lost all control here, and I take no responsibility for anything that happens from here on out.
You've never had control here, Steph.
But I have the illusion of control.
Oh, that's true.
We're not giving a very good example today.
No.
Okay.
The real problem is that I'm the only one here not drinking anything. So, I mean, I'm drinking soda, but it has no alcohol in it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's very
well, I'm all right. The sun's below my yardarm, so I'm the only one that's legally allowed to.
I knew you
well,
had
it's only an hour till 5 o'clock here, but I've got
there you go.
things to do after the show today that are preventing me from consuming alcohol during the show.
Oh, we're all wondering what that is.
It's not as exciting as you might think.
Gonna take Taco for a walk?
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, sure.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
Nope.
No.
All right. Item 8. Henry, the burning forest scenario.
Huh?
Okay. Let's see exactly what he's talking about here.
Okay.
It's voice feedback. Here we go. Take it away, Henry.
Hello, APG crew. This is Henry speaking from Berlin, Germany. I hope everybody of you is busy doing the daily booing pronunciation lessons. I will check your progress next time we meet. Now, I have a question which crossed my mind the other day. Given the fact that 2 of you are about to transit to another aircraft, and with Rick just finished to transit to a new aircraft, and given the fact that Captain Nick, back in his days with the Royal Air Force, flew another model every other day, I wonder how interchangeable your qualifications are when it comes to being able to fly any other aircraft out there. And I mean, not being trained to do so. In order to avoid you all checking out on the answer by saying, nah, it's not safe, we must not do this, I would like to invite you to a little thought experiment. Let's pretend we are in a Hollywood movie scenario in which you are located in the middle of a huge forest. To make things worse, that forest is on fire with the flames rapidly closing in. However, there's an airport in the middle of that inferno, and there's an aircraft sitting there doing nothing. From the looks of it, the aircraft is fine. The taxiways and the runway are fine too. And let's assume getting physical access to this aircraft is of no concern for this scenario. Would you be able to jump into the left seat and somehow start up the aircraft, even check the fuel quantity, taxi to the runway, and get this baby off the ground and land it somewhere else successfully? I would kindly remind you that the fire is rushing in, no time to read the checklist or anything. It is either try this or have your beautiful curls singed by the blaze. It is all or nothing. If so, what would be your major steps and settings in order to get the aircraft up in the air? Flaps full and 140 knots just to be safe as some sort of rough estimate? If you say no, this is too rushy, there's no chance, let's assume you have time to read the checklists. Would you then feel you could be successful? And to make this very clear, it has to be an aircraft you have never flown in before, like some sort of Airbus for Jeff and Dana, an AMD-80 for Nick and Rick, and Steph, maybe a Cessna Caravan. I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts about this. This is Henry from Berlin, signing off.
Thank you, Henry from Berlin.
Well, that's not a fair question to me because I've flown a Caravan. So
yeah, I was about to say. You fly.
Let's move on to the next item in our feedback.
Yeah.
That's a really
I want to hear how Nick thinks that he will tackle this in a Mad Dog.
Well, I think before he does, it's an easy answer for me because all I have to do is hit that button that says "Go fly," isn't it? What does it say?
Basic.
Takeoff.
Yeah.
Airbus. Take off.
Take off. Yeah. Just push the button and then I don't have to know anything. It just does it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being honest, if that movie, what was it?
7,500.
7,500. I mean, he literally cut it on.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
No.
I just watched that last night too.
No, earlier I said there was something I was going to say during our Getting to Know You segment.
Yeah, okay.
That was what it was. I was going to talk about the fact that I watched that movie 7,500.
Okay.
Dang it. Oh well.
We can do that next if you want to.
You managed to watch it, did you? I got 20 minutes through, and I thought that idiot's going to open the cockpit door, and I thought I'm not going to bother watching it anymore.
Spoiler alert.
Let's hold that thought.
Yeah,
because I think it will be fun to talk about 7,500.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can say is I would probably, what do they call animals that are burnt in a forest fire?
Barbecue.
Something about something critter.
Roasted critter.
Crispy critter.
I would be a crispy critter because even in the airplane that I used to be qualified to fly, I'm not even sure I could figure out how to start the engines. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you know that's I think is the biggest hurdle. Getting the damn thing ready to taxi. I think if someone could give you an airplane with the engines running, none of us would have too many problems working out how we're going to get it airborne. But getting the start procedure right, Yeah,
I mean, some airplanes are easy. You just hit the button, but then sometimes you got to hit the button, and then at a certain point, you got to put the fuel lever on to a certain position.
Yeah. Or every airplane's a bit different,
right? And that really, honestly, I think that would be the toughest part in an airplane that I've never flown before. I don't know exactly how to get the thing going. I would be burnt to a crisp. Yeah. So I'm being honest. Right. I would like to think of myself as someone who could jump into anything at a moment's notice and figure it out and fly it away and be the hero. But no, I'm not that guy. Nick.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, once you're sitting in the seat as well, everything is so damn close. It's very hard to get an overall picture of what switches there are where. They're not always clearly marked as to exactly what function and what order you put them on. You could very easily just spend half an hour trying to puzzle your way through an engine start and still not get it right. So no guarantee. However, someone gave you an engine running aircraft, I think we'd all probably put the flaps about halfway down. I think we'd manage to taxi it out of the runway, no problem, even if we just used differential braking. It works in a very similar manner, even if we couldn't find the tiller. Once we pointed down the runway, you just plant the thrust levers or our throttles to the stops and just set off down there, and when it feels like it wants to fly, heave back, away you go. It's really not that hard. And the same for landing. When you find yourself a runway, put the flaps all the way down, put the gear down, plant it on. At speeds, you can basically say,
who needs speeds?
150, 160 knots would not be a bad speed to land most airliners at. So if you err on the cautious side,
I was about to say, I was like,
well, I'm saying that
Yeah,
quite honestly, if you pick a
yeah.
big enough runway, then having an extra 20 knots or so, or even 30 knots, is not a big deal. Much better that way than be 30 knots slow and end up plowing in a mile short of the runway. So
Robert actually had the idea I had. I just want something that's a hand prop aircraft, to like a Piper Cub or something, just run over, mags on.
Yeah, so if this thing was like a turboprop
thing-
or something like that, I don't even have any. I've never flown an airplane. I've never flown a turboprop. I would have no idea how to start the engine.
Yeah,
and then
if you gave me something
this
with propeller,
all these different levers, I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, we'll put Jeff in the caravan and see how it goes.
Where do you put the
it's not going
pitch?
to go well.
lever?
You don't want to do that.
I mean, do you have the pitch on course or fine for takeoff? I don't know. Do you?
Yeah.
If you've got variable pitch on an airplane,
Props forward, Nick. Props forward.
props forward. Is
Forward.
that course or fine? Forward? What's that mean?
Medium course.
Medium course.
Medium course.
That's
See,
copy.
so
It's either feathered or all the way forward. There's what's
Forward.
course?
Well, no, you can. I mean, you can pull the props back to reduce that blade angle.
I don't think we
Yeah.
use course or fine, and
you're talking
I'm not sure we're
about-
speaking the same
You're talking
English
about
language.
airplanes with automatic pitch, aren't you? I guess.
Right.
I'm
yeah,
talking about manual pitch. If you've got to set your own propeller
Oh.
pitch at different stages through the flight, you'd need to know where to
I
put
thought you
it.
had to do that anyway, didn't
yeah,
you? You don't have to.
you got to.
I don't know.
I mean,
just-
I don't know. I've never flown an airplane like that. That's what I'm
I've
saying.
never-
Yeah, I was just no,
I've
no.
never-
So I think you do mean course.
do I?
I don't know. Are we speaking the same?
The only airplane I've flown that had one of these was some kind of a Piper, and
So
it had course or
feather,
fine.
yeah. So feather
Well,
is
you don't wanna
87
put it to
degrees. You don't want to
feather, do you?
feather,
'Cause that's
right?
what
No,
you
but I'm
do
just
with
going. I'm
engine
just going
failure.
back through. So that's. Are you talking about that's fine?
Everything.
No, I'm talking about the settings. One said course, one said fine. So
No, they don't say course or fine.
yeah, they do. They're taking British airplanes. Of course they do. There you go. Hamish has got it. Look.
No, he had it. He had it. He had it
Oh,
backwards.
Liz,
He has it backwards anyway.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to disconnect with Liz.
It's horrible. It's just horrible.
She said this is a dumpster fire. That's worse than a train wreck.
Yeah, yeah. We're dumpster fire. It's worse.
I think we should cut to the plane tow while you gather yourself, Jeff.
Henry, basically, it would not be a good thing at all. Probably most of us would die.
I think we would all struggle with.
There you see that this bloke knows. Fine for takeoff, course for cruise. There you go. That's simple enough. I did.
Have you ever flown a turboprop?
I haven't flown a turboprop, but I've flown.
Then how do you know?
Okay, that's probably the reason why, right there. You know, I went from 150 to a jet. You know, there you go. There's the problem right there.
Yeah. Well, that's
that's
essentially what I did.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things in aviation we wouldn't understand if we got into the wrong airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, you know, I think the hardest thing would be button location, because every time you sit down in an airplane, the first thing you got to do is say, okay, well, where's all of the buttons I need to know about, or levers or switches and all that. And then,
but if this is like big fire and you just got, it doesn't matter if you just got to get the airplane started and going down the runway and take off and get away from the fire before you
push all the buttons, pull all the levers.
There you go.
Yes.
That's our advice. Push all of
what
them.
happens. Were we talking about that earlier? Well, oh yeah, we were with Liz Nick trying to get his Focusrite to work because it updated. He just pushed all the buttons.
That's what he was doing. He's pushing all the buttons.
Yeah.
Like a true Airbus pilot, just push all
That's
the
it.
buttons.
Keep pushing buttons till it works.
Till it works.
Yeah.
Oh man. Now, for those of you listening who might have some anxiety about flying, we're probably giving you a really bad idea of it. So, yeah. So normally we go to training, and sometimes our training
next week.
Yeah, our training, like for our initial training on a new airplane that we've not flown before, can last a month and a half to 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
And that's the reason for it, so that when we actually get into an airplane, we know what to do. We know how to start the engines, and we know what flap settings to use and all that kind of stuff. So don't you worry. This is a hypothetical situation that Henry, by the way, Liz, would you make sure that we block Henry from ever setting his feedback again? He's gone. Okay, thank you. Just kidding, Henry. That was a good question. And it was fun discussion.
Oh,
yeah.
Do we want to talk about 75? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to talk about that 7,500?
Yeah, let's talk about 7,500. Why not?
And spoiler alert for everyone.
Oh,
that hasn't seen it.
yeah. So if this is an Amazon Prime movie, and Landon on the last episode sent in audio feedback regarding it and talking about how realistic he thought it was, not only for the flying aspects, but also the law enforcement aspect of it. I have to say, the very end, it was it left me like, that's it?
Like, what?
Yeah,
I had the same.
What just happened? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
so
I was
watched
expecting more of a wrap up.
I watched it last night while I was on the treadmill for a very long time. And I had the same, I was like, okay. And I was looking at the time remaining. So I was trying to time how long I was running for and also changing out laundry and stuff. I was like, okay, there's just a few minutes. And I was like, how are they going to resolve all this in the next few minutes? And then it was just over.
Yep.
The only criticism that, go ahead, Nick. What was his name? Nick.
I wasn't going to say anything, but now you asked me to.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying something.
I was cringing because I could see in my mind that he was about to open the cockpit door.
Yeah.
And I said, no pilot in his right mind is ever going to open that cockpit door. And anyway, he's in Europe. He can have that airplane on the ground in 15 minutes, more or less. There's hardly anywhere in Europe where there isn't an airfield that you can put it down. And he's faffing about there. And what's more, he's going to open the cockpit door, and I'm just going to get so angry with him. I'm going to throw something through the front of the television. So before I got to that point, I turned it off. I couldn't watch it anymore.
Steve and I had a long discussion about it in our drive.
Okay.
There were certain, as a whole, as far as movies dealing with aviation, it was mostly pretty accurate.
It's above average.
Way above average.
Yeah.
The aviation stuff was fine. It was the story
when they were
that I had.
starting the airplane up and getting it airborne, I thought, hey, this looks like
I could
any
see
one of our trips. Yeah, it looks really good.
But when it failed for me, again, spoiler alerts for people that haven't seen the movie, we apologize. It's still worth watching the movie, even, listening to what we have to say about it. But the thing that bothered me the most as far as realism is concerned is that once this whole event started to, it's not really a spoiler alert to tell you it was a hijack, because the name of the movie is 7500, which is the code for hijack. Yeah. The thing that really kind of bothered me was that at one point he just basically turns it to a certain heading and descends out of their cruise level to another altitude. And that's pretty much it. And then all this other drama is going on. And I get it. Most people aren't going to be paying attention to the reality of the fact that there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on actually flying an airplane, even if it's on automation. And as Nick mentioned, the fact that they even say in the movie that, go to this place first. It's closest. It's only like 20 minutes away. But from that point until the end of the movie, it was like over an hour.
Yeah, it was.
So that was like, put the airplane on the ground instead of dealing with all the stuff. I was yelling at my television because I was saying, just fly the airplane and get it on the ground.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But of course, it wouldn't be a really good movie as far as the drama is concerned. If he did that, it's
I was expecting it to they're getting on the ground and then refuel, get back up in the air, get another pilot or something to carry it on that way. But no, you're going to fly around for an hour. Then you clearly hear the controller say, what was it? Hanover's 20 minutes away. And it's like,
and he was like, we want to go back to Berlin. And they're like, that's 30 minutes, but Hanover's 20 minutes away. It's like,
that's
horrible.
And then it was way more than 20 minutes.
Exactly. And then the other thing too, I don't fly the Airbus, but I've ridden it for a good bit of times. He kept engaging and disconnecting the autopilot on the center where the disconnect and reconnect button is. I'm like, do you not want to use the side stick to disconnect? He kept reaching over to do it.
That's
but it just made it more interesting because
his
arm was
stick.
Injured and he couldn't, So
you can disconnect it using the same button you engage it, but it sets off the alarm So, and it's a bit of it wakes the other pilot up.
The other pilot was dead.
He might have been just sleeping.
You're spoiling it for everybody.
Come on, I was kind of making a joke. Yeah, if you use the button to disconnect it, it'll come up with a warning and the caution will go. If you just use the instinctive disconnect on the stick, then it just goes blah blah, and that's it. Yeah. It's disconnected.
Gotcha. Then one other thing that I noticed, there was one scene where he had to do something, and like he disconnected, and then the plane's just like flying along for like 10 minutes in straight and level flight. I'm like, I know it's an Airbus, but I don't know any plane that flies straight and level on whatever heading for 10 minutes and it not like oscillate one way or another. That was just like, okay, come on.
Well, maybe it can. I don't know.
I don't know.
Would that be realistic? If you took it off autopilot and just didn't touch the stick, would it just fly solid?
It probably wouldn't deviate that much, but if there's a gust of wind that tilts it, it will try and bring it to where it was before because you haven't put an input in. So it goes, you didn't do that on purpose, so I'm just going to try. But it's not that good. It'll basically meander around. But it's like most airplanes. If it's well trimmed out, an airplane will toot along reasonably well. It'll deviate a few hundred feet, perhaps a few 1,000 feet. But it's not going to suddenly turn into a screaming Jesus dive. Sorry.
Show title.
There it is.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. Not really.
That was dark.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness.
Anyway, my take on it was airplane stuff was fine. Story was not my favorite.
Yeah.
But
really, what was the story part of it, aspect of it? What didn't you think was fine, Steph?
Just everything you've already gone into, the realism of like the timeline of how everything would unfold.
Okay, so I thought that
and
was
the way,
like
and there was like
no,
that stuff was fine. It was.
I misunderstood you then. Okay.
Yeah, no, just the character development was kind of not great. And,
so you did mean that then? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought it took a lot for that ending of the movie to happen. Like, if that was in America, that guy would have been, that would have been done already.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just about that.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean,
watch it for the aviation aspect if you want, and if you like the plot line, then bonus.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've seen a lot worse aviation movies, that's for sure.
Airplane.
No, that's the thing.
And most realistic.
Yeah.
Everything's right in that movie.
Oh yeah, Airplane. That's very realistic. Yes.
Absolutely, that totally happens every flight.
Yes,
absolutely,
without question. All right. Well, I know it's a bit early for us to do the plane tale, just a little bit early, but I think it would be a good time for us to do that, and maybe we'll reset, and when we come back, we'll be very professional, and it'll be just the best show ever.
Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. Yes.
Do you have more of those beers, Stephen?
Yeah,
I think I got 3 more left.
Oh wow!
Just crack open another one.
Well, in the meantime, while we're drinking this wonderful beer, let's listen to this week's installment of the Old Pilot's Plane Tales. Here we go.
The Old Pilot's Plane Tales. The Rare Red Hawk. On April the 1st, 2011, a little-known story of intrigue and tension within the usually calm and placid country of Canada came to light. I need you to cast your mind back to a time when relations between North America and very North America, better known by producer Liz as her beloved country of Canada, and their southern neighbors were far from calm. This little-known affair of the 1960s has become notorious in government circles and is variously referred to as the stab in the backyard, the fishbed flap, the Red Hawk incident, or more ominously, the Canuck invasion crisis. Relations between the two countries were brought to a breaking point and members of Congress were ready to apply sanctions, while senior commanders of the United States Air Force were eager to confront the Royal Canadian Air Force in the air. The commander of the Strategic Air Command, General Curtis LeMay, apparently stated, "My solution to the problem would be to tell those frozen Canuck bastards, frankly, that they've got to draw in their horns and stop their aggression, or we're going to bomb them into the Stone Age." To understand what had got everyone so upset, we must start with the remarkable 1953 Canadian project to build a world-beating Mach 2, 50,000-foot-plus fighter, the Avro Canada CF-105 Arrow. Tired of manufacturing aircraft designed by others, a new generation of Canadians were determined to produce Canadian designs, and the Arrow was going to be the aircraft of their dreams. Freed from the conventional ways of thinking that limited Avro's rivals, the firm's engineers were going to work on revolutionary jet fighters, commercial airliners, flying saucers, and even a space plane that would place Canada at the technological cutting edge of the new jet age. On the 4th of October 1957, 14,000 people watched a large hangar on the outskirts of Toronto open to reveal a beautiful, large, white, delta-winged aircraft. The aircraft was the Avro Arrow Interceptor. A third longer and broader than most of today's fighters, the Arrow could fly as fast as Concorde and had the potential to go even faster. It was Canada's $250 million, that's $1.6 billion in today's money, bid to become an aviation superpower. It was bold and elegant, and would serve as the Royal Canadian Air Force's primary interceptor in the 1960s and beyond. But not long after the 1958 start of its flight test program, the development of the Arrow, including its Orenda Iroquois jet engines, was abruptly and controversially halted, sparking a long and bitter political debate that still simmers today. To most Canadians, the Avro Arrow was a heart-achingly beautiful aircraft, a breathtaking and futuristic symbol of a nation imbued with new technological confidence. Suffused with the thrill of standing at the very edge of scientific achievement, the Canadians were abruptly yanked backwards the day the Arrow program was cancelled, and many Canadians who were alive that day still feel the sting. The action effectively put Avro out of business and scattered its highly skilled engineering and production personnel to companies all around the world. The pain of failure and urge to strike out also impacted military officers and senior government bureaucrats with equal force. Within 2 months of the project cancellation, all aircraft, engines, production tooling, and technical data were ordered scrapped, and many mid- and high-level bureaucrats at the Department of National Defense were convinced that American political pressure had been applied to get the Canadian project cancelled in order to sell the new F-104 and F-101 fighters to Canada. Some believed it was Prime Minister Diefenbaker's personal decision, and a few in the inner circle believed that the then Minister of National Defense, George Pierkes, was being blackmailed by an East German Mata Hari. It had been on the creaking wooden floors of DND's Hunter Building on O'Connor Street that the idea of an all-Canadian fighter interceptor had emerged amongst the Air Force veterans of World War II, the pilots, navigators, and intelligence men known as the Hunter Boys. These men now believed they knew the culprit, the American military-industrial complex, as it was named by Eisenhower. The Americans were not fearful of the Arrow's promised capabilities. They had laughed at the suggestion. What they wanted was the Canadian market for military aircraft. At the time, Canada had one of the largest air forces in the world, with scores of impressively well-equipped bases stretching from Newfoundland to Vancouver, and hundreds of fighter aircraft, with hundreds more utility and transport aircraft. If Canada took to building its own aircraft, its independence would divert billions of dollars into the Canadian economy that could have been heading south of the border. With the carcasses of their beloved Arrows cut into scrap and the promise of independence from the United States dashed, the Hunter boys sought a form of revenge so daring, so complete, that it would touch every American. They would set in motion a plan to purchase replacement fighters not from the United States, not even from Western Europe, but from the Eastern Bloc. During secret meetings held in the darkened tap room of the Bytown Inn just across O'Connor Street from the Hunter Building, they conceived a strategy which would be known as the Labatt's Conspiracy. In a matter of weeks, they had set in motion a plan to confer with key Soviet officials. Low, mid, and then high-level talks and meetings were sought between RCAF senior officers and the Soviet leaders, and by June 1959, the procurement team had made approaches to diplomats and party officials at the Embassy of the Soviet Union in Ottawa's Sandy Hill. In late August of 1959, a large team of Canadian officials, including Air Commodore Rowe, a number of test pilots, and some aeronautical engineering experts from the Paul Kissman Institute, flew by RCAF North Star to West Berlin. From here, they were discreetly escorted through Berlin checkpoints and on to the East German Air Force Base at Holzdorf in Schleswig-Holstein. There they were given unprecedented access to the previously secret MiG-21F, NATO designation Fishbed Bravo, and given a full demonstration by an up-and-coming Soviet test pilot named Yuri Gagarin. The Canadians were concerned about the MiG short range, but were very impressed with its Mach 2 capability and its rate of acceleration. Interpreters for the delegation translated Gagarin's grinning comments after the show as MiG-21 is lightning bolt across Mother Russia. MiG-21 runs like a scolded dog on Nevsky Prospect. The successful flying display led to the highest level talks between First Deputy Chairman of the Council of Ministers of the Soviet Union, Anastas Mikoyan, the brother of Artem Mikoyan, one of the USSR's greatest aircraft designers, and Prime Minister John George Diefenbaker. Though the subject of the meeting was secret in every way, it was deemed a good idea to hold them in plain sight, and so, on the main floor of a trade fair in West Berlin, amidst vast 400-pound colour TVs, steam-powered lawnmowers, atomic ovens, and toasters the size of tombstones, in the Soviet Union's vast gallery of progress and household joys, a deal was struck. The agreement ratified that day set in motion a series of steps that would strain Canadian-American relations for decades. The speed at which all this happened was fueled on Canada's end by Air Commodore Rowe's intense need for revenge, and on the Soviet side by unbridled glee at the prospect of extending their influence to the 49th parallel. By their willingness to shop in the Soviet weapons market, the Russians were convinced that the Canadians were turning towards communism, bolstered by the fact that Canada was in the throes of socializing their entire national health care system. Over the next 3 months, 30 shiny new MiGs were selected from the factory line at the Mikoyan OKB plant outside Moscow, disassembled, crated, and shipped by rail to the White Sea port of Severodvinsk. Throughout the months of February and March of 1960, a series of rusty Russian freighters were loaded with crated aircraft under the cover of darkness. One by one, they weighed anchor and took a course north and then west out to the open sea, bound for the east coast of Canada. Each ship was secretly shadowed all the way by a Russian submarine. Discreetly offloaded at the port of Bathurst, New Brunswick, the ships disgorged their crates onto CNR flatbeds under the supervision of Air Force MPs. The shrouded cars were then coupled to a locomotive and sent on a 2-hour overland journey south to RCAF Station Chatham, the base for the Fighter Conversion Unit for Canadian Sabres. Here, under airtight security, Mikoyan technical representatives supervised the reassembly of the fighters as they arrived, and a team of 4 pilots from the East German Air Force carried out nighttime flight training with pilots of 441 Squadron who had been brought home under secret orders from Marville, France, where they had been stationed. Over the next 2 to 3 months, flight training proceeded apace, and by late June 1960, the Canadian pilots were ready for a ferry flight to their eventual home base of Cold Lake, Alberta. But first, they had to pick a name for their new fighter, which the RCAF was calling the CF-121. At this time, the Canadian Aerobatic Demonstration Team, the Golden Hawks, were stationed at the other side of the base. The squadron commander, squadron leader Stefan Schwilka, inspired by the Hawks, named the new type the Red Hawk. More creative squadron pilots nicknamed it the Stratocaster, or Strat, a name that paralleled their German instructors, who called the MiG-21 the Balalaika. Before dawn on June the 23rd, 1960, 9 pairs of CF-121 Red Hawk fighters started up on the flight line. Though ramp lights were kept off for secrecy, ground crew could see for the first time the freshly applied 441 Silver Fox squadron checkerboard tail markings, aircraft numerals, RCAF titles, and roundels. The shrieking Tomansky turbojets turned the ramp into a noisy inferno as each gleaming fighter lurched forwards in turn, wheeled left, and taxied in line to the end of runway 25. There, in pairs, they lit the afterburners and thundered down the runway to take off into history. Radio silence was to be kept the entire way. An hour later, right after sunrise, as commuters were just beginning to bustle into the city of Montreal, 9 pairs of MiGs began letting down towards St. Hubert, with the sun rising like a brilliant white disk behind them. While the tower was expecting them, the radar station at RCAF Station Victoriaville was not. A curious technician saw the MiGs descending and dashed inside and sounded an alarm that would send a pair of standby interceptors from their combat-ready hangars to launch and intercept them. The MiGs got down just as a pair of CF-100s from 425 Squadron lifted off. They got away with it this time, but soon the story would break. Finally, at Cold Lake, 441 Squadron started working up with their MiGs for their first big exercise, Rolling Cossack, in late July. Although the CF-100s of 433 Squadron dominated the Red Hawks, they were gaining experience quickly. Now the RCAF knew it was just a matter of time before the US learned of the Red Hawk program. In fact, they were surprised they'd managed to keep a lid on it for so long. But it was during the next exercise, Pierogi, that two major events happened. One of the Red Hawks finally fell victim to its lack of range and flamed out south of Cold Lake, crashing near a small hamlet called Glendon in Alberta. The other, more dramatic event was a photograph taken by a U.S. serviceman on a camping trip near Moose Lake, who took a grainy image of 4 Red Hawks streaking past in close formation. It was soon plastered on the front page of every newspaper in America, Canada, and Europe. To say the least, everyone, save the Hunter boys and the Soviets, were stunned. The New York Times printed the headline, "Canadian plot foiled, U.S. Airman saves nation," whilst the Chicago Tribune ran with a simple, "Canadian communist shocker," and the Washington Post used a double entendre, "Bordering on evil, Soviet fighters amass at border." Canadian and American diplomats were scrambling to understand what was taking place. In one day, the security focus of the United States turned 180 degrees from Cuba to Canada, and for the next week, U-2 flights were ordered day and night over Canadian military bases. National Guard units from Maine to Montana were mobilized, and infantry units, mechanized units, and Beaumark SAM missile batteries began to pile up along the 49th parallel. Vice President Richard Nixon spat acidic invective and inflammatory comments and used a now famous phrase, "Soviet Kanukistan has dropped the Iron Curtain along the 49th, and the United States of America will tear it down and wipe Canada clean with it." It sent massive shivers rippling through the Canadian Parliament. By 1961, President Kennedy had been inaugurated and promised to mend the fences between both nations. The term shuttle diplomacy was first coined during the Red Hawk incident as delegations flew back and forth between Washington and Ottawa. If Canada guaranteed the end of Red Hawk, the United States would remove their military units positioned along the border, allow American aircraft to be license-built in Canada, and seriously consider socializing their healthcare system. Now all that exists of those CF-121s are a few photographs and an old gate gun at CFB Cold Lake. This story emerged following a remarkable piece of detective work by D.H. Yellamo, who first published it on the 1st of April 2011 on the Vintage Wings of Canada website under the title The Breaking Point. My thanks to Chris Postal for innocently suggesting I cover the subject.
Oh, that's an amazing story I'd never heard of.
No, yeah, that was crazy.
I loved it, actually. I'm going to give Chris the benefit of the doubt and just assume he was joshing me. He was trying to get me to do a story that wasn't based entirely in truth. But I'm hoping he'll write to me and tell me whether he actually realized that the story he had found was an April Fool's joke. So, and to be fair, it took me some time to work it out.
To figure that out.
Going, yeah, I don't remember that.
So it was an April Fool's joke.
Yes, it was. And
Okay,
but it
so
was hard to
that's why
find out.
Okay.
If you didn't know, the only way that you're going to find out was at the end of this amazing article on the website that I mentioned, was to click at their right at the end, they've got a little donate button. That's right. For information you can contribute to Save the Strat program at VW, click here. And when you click there, it goes to the page that says, "Oh, it's an April Fool." But if you were a mean so-and-so, didn't want to do that.
If you were uncharitable.
Exactly right. Then you might be taken in by it because it was so well written, and I had to praise it quite a lot to fit it in. But I just loved it. I thought it was so much detail, fantastic photographs.
We were talking like during that, when we were mics muted and we were listening to this, thinking, I've never heard of this story before.
Yeah, this one's not familiar.
What?
Yeah.
No, exactly right. So I take my hat off to the author who did a damn good job. And I only hope I told it well enough. So, yeah, I thought it was great. It's not April the 1st today, but it might be one day.
Maybe it'll be replayed on the next time we have a show on April 1st.
Oh, yeah, it might. We might. Yeah,
Right,
exactly right. Yeah, that would be real good.
And well told, as always, Nick.
Oh, yeah, thanks very much. Loved it.
Yes, goes without saying. Always very well done. All right. But I'll continue to say it anyway, even though it's not.
Well, you're a gentleman, Jeff.
Well, I try to be.
Was that a bit of a
like
snicker from HR there?
I was laughing at the sincerity in Nick's voice as he said it. Is what I was laughing at.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on. Where were we? Number 9, I think.
Yeah.
After the forest fire. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
PJ Navigators.
Thank you. Number 9, PJ. Hi, crew. So today, I was on the road and working on the boat quite a while. To quantify that, while I've listened to almost 3 full APG episodes, yes, I know, it's pathological, I suppose. Yeah, it is. Sorry. One thing caught my eye, or ear, actually, when you read the rules for flight engineers. It was clear that one of the key duties of a flight engineer was to make sure the navigator didn't snooze off. Now, we all know flight engineers have disappeared from all but a few aircraft, but no one, I think, knows when navigators have disappeared. Is there any chance that with the disappearance of flight engineers, all those navigators have just nodded off in the E&E compartments and no one ever checked on them?
A lot of
it's possible.
A lot of sleeping navigators in E&E compartments.
In short, is there a huge number of sleeping navigators that we all don't know about? I'm sure. Because, no, I'm not going to say it.
Well, you can just imagine them going to a museum and finding one of these old airplanes, and you peer into the navigator's compartment, and there's just this desiccated body there.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
good visual. Thanks.
Jim Howard and Mike Dell, please send your email to welovenavigators@airlinepilotguide.com. We'll
or I'm offended at Airline.
I'm offended. That works too. We're getting more and more email to that address, actually. And in those COVID-19 days with all the aircraft in dry storage, are they starving? Talking about navigation and flight, one of my flight instructors was an amazing lifelong aviator. Ernst was a Luftwaffe pilot in World War II. By the way, many of you don't understand, realize Luftwaffe means red balloons in English. Just kidding. That's something I said in an earlier episode that was not actually anything close to reality. Ernst was a Luftwaffe pilot in World War II, flying in the Med, and albeit they had radio navigation aids, he also had to navigate by sextant, and explained that to me once. A fantastic ability that I thought I understood at the time but could not do anymore. One of the greatest stories he always told was the one of being able to fly gliders again after the war in 1951. They had a SG-38 like this. Okay, he's given us a YouTube link. So SG-38 hidden away in Farmers Barn somewhere.
Frame? I think he meant frame.
In a farmer's barn?
Farmers.
Okay.
The R somehow dropped somewhere, and put it back together, pulled it up a hill and launched it by a rubber rope that was pulled out by 8 or 10 runners. And this is what this looks like. Again, another link to YouTube. Ernst always said that in the evening, he went home to his wife that night and explained to her that today I've flown 16 seconds, and I'm sure you understand what that meant for him. Okay. There's another link to flickr.com for some photos. For his 70th aviation anniversary, we gave him a flight with the very aircraft type that he originally learned to fly on, a Focke-Wulf 44 Stieglitz, basically the German counterpart of the U.S. Stearman. Ernst gave up his CFI license at the age of 90. Wow.
That's
impressive. Sadly, died 5 years ago at the age of 95. Wow, that's a long life.
Yeah.
I've never flown with a kinder man, and there would be many more stories to tell about him. And again, another link to Flickr and some photos of this gentleman. Thank you all. Thank you for all you do, and hope you all get to fly again soon. Best, PJ. Thanks, PJ. What a great story.
It is, and those videos are definitely worth looking at. That style of glider, the SG-38, there was a very similar one in the UK at the time called the Grasshopper, and basically it's a skid with a bit of scaffolding around it and a pair of wings. You're basically sitting in the open. There's nothing around you at all. You're perched on a seat on a skid. And bungee launching was very common for those kind of gliders in that period. And you'll remember perhaps my father telling me that that's the way he started in aviation, with a gliders club launching one of these on a beach in Australia. And that's exactly what people were flying in those days. And it was an early glider the Air Cadets used. So it's quite remarkable and great fun. Didn't have a very good glide ratio, I might point out. And one was a bit exposed to the elements.
Yeah, I was watching the YouTube video of that. It is rather exposed to the elements, isn't it?
Yeah, but great.
I'm surprised it didn't have a good glide ratio, though.
Sorry, miss that?
It didn't have a good glide ratio, you said?
I don't think so, no.
Wait, it's a glider, though, right?
Yeah. You can't go around.
Yeah. You can never go around. But I thought gliders are supposed to have a good glide ratio. I mean, I just thought that's why they're gliders.
Yeah. This was an early attempt, right?
Yeah, I think if you've got a huge wingspan and incredibly light, strong material to build it out of, you do get a very good glide ratio. But I think these early ones weren't quite that way. They didn't have materials or the design quite nailed. But it was a cheap and easy way to learn to fly.
Cheap and easy. That's what we like. So, since we're talking about this and gliders and not going around, Thomas, item number 17 in the feedback notebook, he says, I've been listening for almost a year now. Always interesting, sometimes hilarious. And there's a picture that he gave us. I couldn't find the toga button is the caption for this photo, and it's a glider that is lodged in some trees. It looks like at the end of a field.
It looks like the end of a field. It looks like they were probably coming into land. Hope maybe, or
that's what I'm assuming.
Or maybe the field's on the other side of the trees, and they just
or they were short.
I'm thinking. I'm imagining that he just had too much energy.
Too much energy and
floated. Oh, this is not going to work. Let me try to get above these trees. And
I mean, it looks like the trees just kind of caught him. You know, if you can imagine, like a nice, very graceful looking glider, and it's just dunk into the trees.
Definitely can be used again.
The back half doesn't look very badly damaged.
No. You can't always.
If you're a glider.
Yes. All right. Excellent. Thanks, PJ, for sending in your for feedback, and also Thomas for the quick pick. Going to item 10. What do we have? Some kind of a flying object?
We have a moth.
A moth flying around here inside of our hotel room, or my hotel room. Logan sends us some audio feedback. He says, I haven't sent in any audio in a while. Here you go. Okay. Thanks, Logan. Let's take a listen.
Hey guys, this is Logan up in North Dakota. haven't sent in any audio feedback in a while, so I thought I'd share something. It's hot up here, 90 degrees and crazy humid lately. Not fun, especially when you're delivering all those packages that Miami Rick is flying around. So, anyways, just got done listening to episode 431 and just had a quick observation in regards to Michael's feedback about the Swift Air 737 flight. And this is more to do with FlightAware or Flight Radar 24 and sites like that. But I noticed he had sent in a screenshot of that flight with the reported speeds and altitude. Just one observation, those speeds that are reported it's actually ground speed, not indicated airspeed. And the only reason I point that out is because of the 250 knot rule or under 10,000 feet. I know a few guys that have gotten some negative feedback or been scrutinized about that rule. Particular guys who posted videos on YouTube, they'll have a speed gauge from their videos and it'll indicate something crazy high like 270, 280, 290, and they're under 10,000 feet. So just wanted to point that out. But then that brings up the question to me is, do pilots get busted for breaking the 250 knot speed limit under 10,000 feet very often? Because as far as I know, air traffic control is seeing ground speed as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I need to also ask RH and AG on their podcast, but I've always been curious about that. Anyways, thanks for the show, guys. Not a whole lot going on up here. The delivery business is pretty busy, as you can imagine, with all this going on. I am getting back up into the air a little bit. I've got some time in a Bonanza and the 172 I normally fly, and I'm actually working on getting checked out in a Belanca Viking. Pretty neat plane with wooden wing spars in it, so that'll be lots of fun. Anyways, thanks again, guys, and hope to hear from you soon. Bye.
My first GA flight was in a Belanca Viking, actually, leaving out of Mobile Regional Airport, or Bates Field back then.
You flew an airplane called a Belanca?
Belanca.
Viking.
Yes, a Viking. Actually, a Viking. Because I'm Nielsen from Viking Heritage.
That makes sense.
Well, we're going to have to find you a hat now, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, good point made regarding the speeds that are on these sites, these flight following sites. They're reflecting the ground speed. And yes, very often the speeds that you're going to be showing as ground speed are much higher than the indicated airspeed.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good point.
The point I was going to make was that I don't know about the United States and how common it is to have Mode S out there. But the transponders nowadays in modern aircraft can transmit a lot of information. For example, London Air Traffic Control knew exactly what indicated airspeed I was flying. And if they asked me to select a new airspeed, they knew what airspeed I had even selected. So they knew what height I was flying at, for example. And if they cleared me to a new height, they could see what height I had selected in the window of the autopilot there to demand descent to confirm that I was actually descending to the correct height they'd allocated. So it's quite
Big Brother.
I was definitely going to say
Yeah,
that.
I was thinking the same thing.
But it's quite likely that system will eventually, when everyone else catches up, proceed all around the world, and air traffic control will be able to see exactly what parameters you are flying your aircraft at. So the days of air traffic controllers having to gauge the wind and work out what your indicated speed is compared with your speed across the tube, pretty much gone, I would hope, pretty soon.
Yeah. MODES is all the data exchange, or adds all that in addition to the altitude, correct?
Good point. I
Reporting.
should have said that.
Yeah, but very few
I don't.
places have the capability of actually seeing what I'm setting in my own automation.
Yeah, I don't. We don't have that at my airline for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, the third world countries. So yeah, I'd expect that.
Oh,
okay.
Are you talking about the United States? Was he?
I think he was. I think he was.
Yeah.
He's calling us uncivilized.
I was used to flying in London control, so I get used to different standards.
Come out here, we'll go out at a little grass patch and take a plane without a radio.
Yeah, there you go. You can still do that in the UK. There's nothing to stop you if you're in the right airspace. But
bunch of cowboys.
You're one of the big boys doing the proper job.
Proper job.
I was just going to say, we were kind of talking about it, 250 below 10 and how big of a deal it is or isn't. I know if you go in and out of O'Hare a lot, they expect you to do 300 in the descent until they tell you to slow down. Well, a lot of times they'll bring you the 10 and they will just say to send down to 7,000 and they don't tell you to slow the 250. So it's on you to slow down.
You have to remember to slow to 250.
You've got to remember to slow.
Now, there's some modes of our descent that will not descend below 10 until you're at 250.
Well, and the CRJ, you don't have that capability.
Right,
so,
you're just using vertical speed.
Yeah, you just use a
so
vertical
if you forget,
speed.
I've had the conversation a few times, like we're going through 9,500, and you go, I think that is still a rule that we have to be below 250 knots at this point.
Generally, the practice that at my airline is you get to 260 and then you start your descent because you're within 10 knots.
Yeah.
And the data lag between you and the controllers such that it's going to show 250 by the time you get below 10 anyway. So
I've been in a few situations, hypothetically, that I may have hypothetically been above 250 knots, like by a hypothetically a lot.
Yeah,
trying to get to an airport before the major storm system.
Yep, I mean, and
nobody's ever said anything.
And I've hypothetically.
I always say we have an amazing tailwind. All of a sudden, I don't know where it came from.
I mean, I've hypothetically been told by a controller that I do 320 below 10.
Really,
for spacing.
Oh, really? And
yeah.
Did you say, okay? Does that mean that they've completely suspended the rules?
Well, I did this. I looked over and he's like, yeah, we can do that. I was like, yeah, sure, we can do that.
No, well,
yeah, hypothetically speaking. Yes.
Now, Houston at Intercontinental for many years, I don't know, it was more than 5 years ago. They had a several-year program where they kind of got rid of the 250 knots below 10,000 rule when you were departing, and I don't know. I guess it didn't work out well or something because they rescinded the program several years ago, but that was kind of unusual, flying that fast below 10,000. And Canada, I think too, below 10. If you're leaving, if you're departing, I don't know if it's still true, but you could accelerate faster than 250 knots.
Yeah.
Below 10,000.
We regularly did out of Heathrow, so we would regularly be told that we were cleared high speed in the descent, so we could maintain whatever speed we wanted until they called us to decelerate. And in the UK.
Okay, of course.
And of course, on the climb out, if you wanted to accelerate early, you could ask for free speed, and if there was no traffic to affect, they would give you permission. So it allowed you to be more efficient if you wanted and get the trip going.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he made a good point, Logan, regarding the fact that when I was talking about, well, it must have been 10,000 feet, not 9,000 feet, because of the speed, and I didn't really consider the fact that with the tailwind, especially going from west to east, he may really have been at 9,000 feet. So I stand, or actually, I'm sitting
under
corrected.
250.
If you're at 10,000 feet, you can still fly whatever speed you like. Yeah.
Yes,
that is correct.
So as soon as you go below, yeah.
Except you can't go above Mach 1 at this point.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean, you can. You're not.
If you're over the ocean, you can.
Yeah.
If you're over land, you cannot.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been Mark 1 overland.
Were you
Yeah, in the military.
Were you going with
That's a little different.
Russians? I mean,
Yeah, you've probably been over Mach 2 overland.
No, I haven't been that fast.
No? Oh.
What? No.
No.
What was the fastest jet you've flown? Was it the F4 or the F-18?
The Tornado, sadly.
Oh, and how fast would that go?
Well, you had to throttle it back when you reached Mach 2 because it really started to get on accelerate fast at that point. It really wanted to go considerably faster. So as you hit Mach 2, it really used to let loose.
Wow.
And again, it used to get to 700-800 knots, and it would just want to go faster. It really did. It wasn't like it was struggling. Those ramps moved, and everything it's like selecting turbo as you came up to those speeds. It really.
You mentioned throttle back though. The Tornado has a throttle also.
I don't know. It had a couple of levers on the left. I forget what was written on them.
I mean, I just want to make sure that we're
I'll go to a museum and try and peer inside and find out what was written on them if you want.
Well, speak of the devil, the Tornado. Item 13. Some dude named Pip.
Who?
Sure. It must be an acronym for something.
Proximal interphalangeal joint. It's the PIP joint.
That would
Pilot
be
in practice.
Pilot incompetent person.
Oh.
I don't know. Just kidding. Pip.
We love
He
you,
loves Pip. He says audio feedback attached. Hugs and kisses. See, he loves us,
Yeah.
and we love him. And let's hear what he has to say.
He only loves one of us.
Yeah, I've not pre-screened
Sorry,
this, so but, good luck, crossed fingers, and all that.
Hi there, gang. Captains Jeff, Nick, Rick, Dana, and Admiral Steph, and Supreme Allied Commander General Liz. It's me, plain old Pilot Pip. I hope everyone's well. Listen, got a question for you, for Nick, actually, Captain Nick. Nick, old bean, you tell many a good yarn about some of the many aircraft you've flown, particularly the Phantom, which clearly you have a love for, and the F-18 and others. What you rarely talk about, I've noticed, what you rarely mention on the podcast is your time on the Tornado, the RAF Tornado, which for me, as a young lad growing up and RAF crazy and an aviation enthusiast, the Tornado was my pin-up aircraft. You know, most normal boys at that age had posters of the latest Baywatch girl in her swimming costume pinned to their wall. I had pictures of the Tornado. It was my thing. That was what I fantasized about when I dreamt of becoming a pilot, was flying the Tornado. Admittedly, the mud mover version, the ground attack version, I know you flew the F3. But listen, I'd love to hear some stories about your time on the Tornado. Maybe you could even find it in your heart to say something nice about the Tornado. I don't know. It can't have been that bad. I think we'd all enjoy to hear some good old Tornado stories. And that's it. I did eventually grow up to be a normal boy and have posters of the latest Baywatch girls on my wall. But truth is, the wife gets really mad. Anyway, catch you all later. Hope you're all well. Bye.
What say you, Nick? Anything good to say?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Pip's quite right. I flew the air defense variant, which was our air defense fighter of really the only one we had for many years. And whilst the Tornado did a great job as a bomber, it could penetrate at low level at night using terrain following radar. Very capable, very accurate bombing systems. Had a man in the back there to deliver your weapon load just where you wanted it. It Yeah, it had good range. It did just about everything you wanted it to. It was pretty good. The fighter version was underpowered. It had a poor wing. In the wing wasn't a high lift wing. It didn't generate a very hard turn in comparison with the aircraft that we regularly flew against. It couldn't fly in military power at very high level. It was an Iron Age airplane in that if you climbed from the Phantom cockpit into the Tornado cockpit, they were very similar, full of ironwork everywhere. They had a couple of TV screens, but mainly iron instruments. So, for those in the Air Force who didn't do what I did, which was step for some period into the F-18, if you move from the Lightning or the Tornado or whatever the Lightning or the Phantom into the Tornado, you would say, oh, this is a bit faster. Turns a little better. The radar is a little longer range, perhaps a little more capable. It's got track while scan. It's got some clever tricks. It's very fast. It's not bad. But I had gone via the F-18 and then back to the Tornado. So I'd seen what the rest of the world could do with their aircraft designs. And when you looked at what the Tornado ADV was fighting against, the F-18, the F-16, training against is what I should really say, since we weren't really doing a lot of fighting. The F-16, the Mirage 2000, the Raphael, the Gripen, all those aircraft. It was an underdog. It really was quite a poorly. It was an aircraft that was a square peg at a round hole. So it really wasn't up to the job that we wanted it to do. So people stopped calling it a fighter and they started calling it an interceptor. Was an excuse for an airplane that just carries missiles and delivers them and can't actually combat, can't perform a decent role if you get into the visual combat environment. So from my point of view, the aircraft was incredibly disappointing. I came from the F-18 onto the F-3 Tornado and took a step back, a whole generation of step backwards in capability. And that's one of the reasons why I found it an extremely disappointing airplane to fly. And one of the reasons why I left the Air Force. Along came the Typhoon, which was the next aircraft, and we're back where we should have been, but we're now a generation behind the rest of the world, because whilst we were flying the Typhoon, the rest of the world had moved on to stealth designs, and the Typhoon is far from a stealthy airplane. So it was an interesting thing, and I actually have a lecture where I compare the F-3, that generation of swing wing aircraft, and they were very limited. There's the Tomcat, the F-111, about 3 Russian ones, and a Tornado. And ask, well, why didn't that design carry on to the next generation? Well, the answer was it wasn't really a very good idea. The swing wing is very limited capability. It has some good applications, but not many. So that was the reason I did not like the Tornado. Of course, it filled a gap. It was a great airplane for the bomber boys. They did some fantastic jobs in it. But quite honestly, if you give an Air Force an airplane and say go to war with it, they'll do the best they can with any airplane. I think we could have done better had we designed something that was more capable. But that's just a personal opinion.
Very good. I think that's what he was looking for. It's funny when you talk about the various generations of fighters or aircraft in general, but fighters specifically. One of the wonderful things on day one that we were listening to on our journey was an audiobook that Stephen has been listening to.
Yep.
And he's going to look it up right now. I'm going to buy this thing and start from the beginning, because I think we started really when I started listening to it was like on chapter 5.
It's Lord of the Sky by Dan Hampton.
It's a great book, and we were listening to the audio version of it.
Yeah, it covers aerial combat from the Red Baron to the F-16, and he focuses in on the different aircraft, but also different aces for the different time periods and the evolution of fighter combat and everything. It's good. What was that one guy, that German guy's name that he
Marseille?
Yeah. I mean, this guy went. What was it? 4 sorties in one day and shot down 18 aircraft.
17 or 18.
Yeah, 17 or
kills
18 in one day.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
He was a German, and he was flying the BF 109, and he was just not only was he an amazing fighter ace, but apparently he was quite a ladies' man.
Quite the ladies' man.
I mean, I think he had more kills. Anyway, he how many? Like he had like 100 and
he totaled. I think he totaled
30,
out above 100 and I think it was 150 something total kills. What was it? Iron Cross with swords, oak leaves, and then I think he had
diamonds
as well, which he is one of only 8 German soldiers in World War II that get that honor.
And he was like, when he died, he was 23.
23, yeah. And he died because he had an oil cooler go out on his aircraft, and he jumped out and hit the horizontal stabilizer.
I'd never heard of this.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But we were listening to this thinking, oh my gosh, this guy was so incredibly talented and he could fly the airplane.
Yeah, what was funny was when he first started, his commanders said he didn't have, what was it? I think the way the word was, he wasn't applying himself enough because he was fighting the Battle of Britain and he just wasn't performing well. And then they sent him to Africa and he's just dropping fighters one right after the other.
Right. Yeah, very, very interesting character. Perhaps a plain tale in the
so
future.
where did he rate the ADV, the air defense variant of the Tornado? Or didn't he get that far?
No, he didn't. This is back in World War II.
Yeah.
I think you said it was for the F-16. So
No.
It goes up to there. We
to the book. That was just like one of the chapters of the book. But anyway, the book was talking about the different countries and the fighters, the airplanes that they had, the limitations, the advantages that some had over others, and it was fascinating.
It really is
amazing book.
I would venture to say they'd probably cover at least the Phantom and the Tornado. So
okay, if it already isn't in the APG library, it's going to be almost immediately because Liz is telling me that we're going to make that an entry in the APG library, and it's really, really fascinating stuff. So.
And I will say, I obviously haven't flown the Tornado because I.
What?
Yeah, I haven't flown it. No.
You know what? No. I have to admit, I've never flown it either.
No. Well, there you go. But I've seen it in Duxford and everything. And the tail it looks goofy. It looks a little goofy.
It's got a huge fin because it's a Mach 2 aircraft and it's not that long. So, if you're going to keep, stability at very high Mach numbers, you've got to have a reasonable size. It used, to be fair, most aircraft of that generation had 2 fins. If you stick them one on the other, it'll look like a Tornado fin. So it's not like that big in comparison. It's one of them instead of 2 of them. But the one thing I did like about it was it had thrust reversers instead of a parachute, which was a great piece of kit.
Probably
of course, it could have just put decent brakes on it. That would have been fine. But it didn't have a multi-mode radar. It only had two modes, pulse and pulse Doppler, which was like the Phantom. It didn't have medium PRF like the F-18 and the F-15. It had lots of drawbacks.
Yeah, what's PRF?
Pulse recurrent frequency.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
of course.
I mean, I didn't want to say it because I didn't want you guys to feel bad.
Thanks, Seth. Thanks. Yeah, always thinking about other people's feelings.
That's right.
Medium PRF gives you all aspect capability at medium range. So short range you can go to pulse, long range you go to PD, and in the middle you've got medium PRF, which is what most modern fighters have. They've got a multi-mode radar, a true multi-mode radar. The ADV didn't. It was all right. I did 3 years flying it and was happy to leave. It had manual wing sweep, which was in Comcat had a completely automatic wing sweep, which is really what you wanted. Manual wing sweep, you had to remember to move the wings at the appropriate time, and you had to remember 2 speeds and 2 Mach numbers for each wing position, and 2 negative Gs and 2 positive G numbers for each wing position. And it was all done by memory because there was no automatic handling.
Too complicated.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you get yourself into a situation where you're fighting with somebody, it's gonna, I mean, you end up making a turn or something, you don't adjust the wing sweep, you're gonna stall out, right? Or
we killed pilots because of it.
That's how you know you're in the right position.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah,
exactly right. In training, we had a guy who, tried to bug out from a fight, and when you try to accelerate and descend away, you naturally put the wings all the way back to 67, and he put the burners in, and he was descending hard, and which, if you had automatic wing sweep, wouldn't have happened. The wings would have gone back in stages as your speed increased. And his navigator shouted at him as he hit about 2,000 feet above the ocean. And he pulled back, but with the wings all the way back, it just changed the nose position. The aircraft continued to descend until it hit the water.
Yeah.
The navigator survived the crash, which is why we know what happens. The pilot sadly didn't.
Wow.
But that's the sort of thing that happens when you are trying to manually move your wings around and trying to do everything else.
So we only have the navigators.
Where's the engineer at?
yeah, exactly right.
That's what you needed. You need an engineer to work your wing sweep.
Yeah,
that's what you needed.
Or maybe make it automatic, like
a Tomcat.
Yeah, exactly. It had an automatic wing sweep system, but we were never allowed to use it.
Why? What was the reasoning on that?
Well, when it was first accepted into service, Boscombe Down, the test pilots who did all the work on the airplane, said that during airway refueling, the speed at which we refueled was just the same trigger speed for the wings to move from 25 to 35 or whatever the positions were. And so the wings would hunt back and forth, and it's really not good for airway refueling. You need to change that. British Aerospace said, well, that's very expensive. You're going to have to pay a lot more money for us to change that. And therefore said, okay, well, don't bother. We'll just use manual wing sweep. Thanks. It never got cleared for operational use.
Could you not just have like an inhibit switch to click on
for
when you're
aerial refueling?
Yeah, and then click it off when you.
Well, I don't know all the. That would have been very sensible, and I would have been happy to do that. But I don't know all the ins and outs. But the fact was that I flew it for many years and didn't ever get to use automatic wing sweep.
It sounds like a CRJ to me.
Oh, you have wing sweep?
Like the
CRJ?
No, we don't. It's just the lack of things that we had that we wish we had.
like the 200.
Yeah, the 200.
Okay.
Leading edge devices.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had leading edge devices on the 200, our final approach speed would be about 105, 110.
Yep.
Wow.
Which you'd never be allowed to use because you're way too slow.
Yeah,
everyone would drive up your backsides.
About 136 is what we do.
You would never be allowed to use it. You're right.
No.
Yeah.
Faster, mate.
Yeah. 170 till 10 feet from touch.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Nick, apparently it's 150 to 160. So
yeah.
That's a good speed for most airplanes.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
I don't think a Cessna 150 can get that fast, but
it can in a 90-degree descent
with a strong tailwind.
In Mike's
like a hurricane,
Beechcraft Musketeer, you'll never see that. That's pretty much it. Which is fine. It works great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last item we'll probably have a chance to cover today is 18 from Greg. Laversha from Down Under. Now, you'll remember that Levershaw. Thank you. A little voice from heaven, just a little angel just spoke into my ear. Said, Levershaw. He wrote us, and we were talking about some feedback from our Finnish listener, Eero, and he was drinking some. Well, let me read what Greg has to say here. Hi, APG crew. Greg from Sydney here with a comment on episode 431, and specifically Eero's comment about drinking a mediocre Australian bulk beer. Now, this is Jeff speaking here. I was thinking, oh my, he must have been offended by the reference to mediocre.
Yeah, the Fosters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. Well,
nope.
Stay with us here. Continuing with Greg. As an Australian, I'm deeply offended. Deeply offended at airlinepilotguide.com. I'm deeply offended by the comment mediocre Australian bulk beer. No one in Australia drinks that Foster's rubbish. That's why it's bulk shipped to Europe. We keep the good stuff for ourselves. Euro was drinking mediocre bulk beer. It wasn't Australian. Cheers all and keep COVID safe.
Well, I don't know. I've spent a few years in Australia, and I've seen plenty of taps with Foster's written on them. And there are other mediocre bulk beers like
just thinking of their ad
Swan
campaigns.
Lager and
X's.
Yeah, VB4X. Yeah, two is rubbish. What a rubbish beer that is. Yeah, actually, VB I quite liked, but yeah.
Well, I think we have to say that every country in the world has some really crappy beer.
I mean, yeah, I was telling Jeff last night about some horrible beers that I knew about in Atlanta. I mean, there was one that was supposed to be, I think, what did I say it was? It was supposed to be some kind of sour, and it tasted like they had just went down to the Gulf of Mexico, got a scoop of water, and poured it in a can. That bad. It was nothing but salt. It was awful. It was just
salt.
Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose Foster's would be the equivalent of Budweiser or something like that. A beer not truly proud of, having in your country.
That you find like the world round. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you leave the States, you go somewhere else, and it's like, yeah, we've got Budweiser as our American beer representative, and you're like,
really?
Yeah,
why would you want that?
Like, don't drink that.
Is Foster's actually an Australian beer, or is it one of those beers that is part
owned
of
by a conglomeration?
Yeah,
I think it's actually an Australian beer. Yeah, you see it in the.
I mean, their ad campaign here was always Foster's, Australian for beer.
Yeah, but they say Outback's Australian for food too.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's nothing to do with
no.
Yeah,
I think it originated in Australia, so I don't think there's any worry there. But I mean, nowadays Australia is like most other countries. They've got a fantastic selection of craft beer breweries, produce some great stuff. So yeah, it's the way to go.
They do, and they are more expensive too because they're outside. Was it the drink? They have a word for it where it's the low gravity beers. It's
swill.
I don't know. It's something like the sipping beers, but like if you go anything that's crap. Yeah, water.
No, session.
Session. Yeah, there's session beers,
like a session beer.
Yeah, but then like when if you go to like this, like you will not find a 10% triple hopped IPA in Australia. Like,
but you will find it here in this hotel room.
You will, or in Wilmington, North Carolina, where it's brewed.
Yes.
So,
yay, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're going that way. But yeah, they've got some pretty light beers too, because a White Duck, they used to have an annual competition. There is some alcohol in it, but they had a competition to see if anyone could drink enough to blow into a breathalyzer and fail the breathalyzer, and no one ever managed to achieve it. So
is that one of those non-alcoholic beverages that actually has like just a smidgen of alcohol in it?
The Black Duck was the strong one, and the White Duck, Swan Lager, you had a black and a white. And we always used to call it Black Duck and White Duck because the swan looked like a duck. Yeah.
Neil in the chat room must have had a beer very similar to the one you're describing.
Oh boy.
I've just had a can of Wake Up and Smell the Goza, blueberry and salt. Disgusting.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good at all, Neil. There are some good Gozas out there, but blueberry and salt.
Yeah, salt, it sounds like
there's a
theme
key lime
here is
pie one that's pretty good.
Yeah, I've had that one. It's good.
What used to amuse me about Australia was the fact that they used to love drinking their beer ice cold. So the glasses came out of a freezer, so they were sub-zero, and they would pour a beer into it. And because it's a warm country and the beer got warm pretty quick, they'd only serve it to you in small glasses. So you get something the size of a shot glass with beer, and you'd take 2 sips and it would be gone. And then you'd ask for another one, and the guy would go to the freezer and pour you another little beer. So, and they had various sizes
See, Nick,
and they
that's
all
a-
had different names. They were weird.
That's actually a thing around the world, except for in the UK, where we actually like our beers to be ice cold and in a frosty glass of some sort.
Well, to be
depending
fair,
on the
if I'm
outside
in a-
temperature, it could be in a larger or a smaller pint glass, or just put
if
a
I'm in
koozie
a
on it.
warm climate, I like a cold beer. We don't have a warm climate here.
So I when I go to a bar, like the first day in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they automatically take the glass out of the freezer, and it's like, really, really cold. And I was kind of like, oh, I forgot to ask this person not to give me a glass that's frozen, to give me just like a room temperature glass. But then after I had my first beer, she wanted to take my glass and give me another chilled glass.
Freezing
And I said,
glass.
"Oh, no, please, I want to use the one that you already have given me," because I find that the beers, I don't like warm beers, but I like beers that are not 32 degrees or 28 degrees. I like beers that are probably in the 45 to 50 degree range.
Yeah, I can't remember which brewery I went to, but they were going through the tour and everything. They were talking about, chemistry of beer, blah, blah, blah. Generally, you don't want a glass to be in anything that's less than 40 degrees Fahrenheit because it'll distort the taste of the beer.
It does. It really. Now, if you're talking, I'm talking about ales here, not lagers.
Yeah.
If you're drinking a lager, then you want a really cold beer,
especially if it's
Yeah,
like PBR,
that's because it
Yes.
disguises the taste.
No, you let a lager.
No one likes the
warm up
taste of
and you go,
lager.
"This tastes like piss," right? Yeah, lagers are not intended to be drunk at a warm or even a cellar temperature.
Yeah,
but I like cellar temperature actually. That's when the beer really.
I don't care for lagers, so there we go.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I think it has its place. I love a Indian lager. It's not bad at all.
That's true.
It's an IPA, isn't it? An Indian lager.
India Pale Ale.
What is an Indian lager?
I'm just saying. Yeah,
No, I don't know. What is an Indian lager? I don't know what that is.
Well, it's just
Oh,
lager.
like what's the name of the one I'm thinking of though?
Oh, just like a regular lager that you get.
Yeah,
from, like,
I like the
something to
African
do with,
lager.
with the lion.
It's got curry in it.
No.
Okay.
It's just like what are the come on, people, help us in the chat room. What are the great?
There's Kingfisher and
Kingfisher, thank you.
Cobra and all those kind of lagers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, those are fine.
Now I
And
understand
in
what
Africa, you've got Castle and you've got Tusker and Star and all those lovely.
Yeah, Singha is a.
I said lovely. They're great when they're cold. You don't want to drink a warm one. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
it's
what was
not
that?
Jeff, if you could just grab that clip from the.
Well, I have so many.
Yeah, he's
Good
bored
ones.
doing it now.
Yeah. Oh, it's time. Liz is telling me you guys need to shut up because
Yeah.
it's 3
Shut up
hours.
talking about beer and talk about airplanes for a change.
No, we rounded out the show with beer chat.
Yeah, this is not just an aviation podcast.
No,
it's infotainment, and we don't
infotainment.
talk specifically or exclusively about aviation here.
It's not really info either because we never really reach 50%.
Well, if you only shoot for 50%,
make it up,
you have
Tainment.
a lot more success.
Set the bar low.
Yes.
And then they won't expect as much.
Exactly.
Good
And
point. Well made.
that's-
Do you like the
that's-
shiny airplane? Didn't you used to fly this, Jeff?
What's that?
That shiny airplane behind me.
No, I never flew that. That's
Oh,
a T. What do they call that? Starfighter T something.
Shooting star? Is it a shooting star?
No.
I think
Yeah,
it was
it might be. No, I didn't do that. That was.
Okay. That was
I would
a
have
little
loved to. I would have loved to have flown that airplane though. Guys that were in my time frame and even in the 80s, they were still flying that airplane in TAC as for training for the other more advanced fighters, like target practice and that kind of thing.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. But anywho,
T-33. So
T-30. That's it.
Yeah, shooting star. Yeah,
shooting star.
Kelly Clark has a different name for it.
Who does? Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was,
Kelly, come on. That's
I think it was. No.
Is that a typo?
I think that was a typo.
A shining star, like a shining star.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Like all of you in the chat room, to me, you're all shining stars. All right, I'm wrapping it up. Thank you, Liz. So
Liz just wants us to finish this train wreck today.
Obviously, Liz has something to do better than this.
She already got her freezer. She was
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Well, the train is already off the tracks. So, with that, let's tell you that you should, dear listener, especially if you're new to the show, if you want to learn more about what the heck is going on here, head over to the airlinepilotguy.com website where you'll find information about the crew and the community. Hey, where's Rick? Why didn't he ever show up?
A question we would all like to have
absent
answered.
without leave today.
Yeah,
for sure.
AWOL again. Dang it.
Mhm.
Anyway, so learn about the crew, the community, the APG library. Our librarian, not Liz, Tiffany, manages that. And we have a Plain Tales page where Nick puts even more good information to supplement his wonderful Plain Tales. Merchandise, the coffee fund, you can learn about that. And there's probably more, even more.
Stuff.
Yeah,
just
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There, airlinepilotguy.com. And we're also on the social medias.
Hey, head on over to twitter.com and you can find us at APG Crew. We're all there. Find our individual information pinned to the top of the page. Good place to find out when we're going to be recording these shows live so you can join in the mayhem that is a live recording. And you can also head over to facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. Lots of good community chat going on there. And Instagram, I promise I'm going to start posting some pictures there again. I need to share some of Nick's wonderful artwork to that page so it can be readily accessible, but maybe just follow him on Instagram. You'll find it there too. Are you old plot there as well, Nick?
I have no idea.
Okay. We'll find that out for you.
Old
no.
Old
Moving
plot.
swiftly on, I think we should move right into Slack. Did you you got Steven there with you? Is Hillel also with you guys on the road trip?
Did you notice you were back in that area? Was he? Hello, are you there? Let's see. Oh, look at that! I hear I hear the shout. Slack time, man. Slack.
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
That's fine. Come on over here. Wait, Steven, move out of the way. Give him some room.
Yeah.
He's going to tell us about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas. We suggest episode and Plain Tales topics. We plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com, or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Wow, he really is dripping wet. I mean,
he is.
I'm soaking right here.
We'll have to get him back on the roof.
Yeah, go get back to the bathroom, please.
On the roof?
Well, it's hot outside. You can dry it.
Mind if I use your razor, Jeff?
Yes.
God. Seems a little personal. I don't know.
It's always like that. All right. Well,
someone buy Hillel some razors.
Yeah, he needs to.
Not that expensive.
He's just got to go down to the front desk. They give them out for free.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Take a walk, Hillel. Put a towel on first.
And of course, we need to big round of applause for our producer director.
Extra round of applause today for keeping
Liz
us on track.
Piper in the background. I mean, I'm so glad I have this talkback channel. She really communicates a lot with
It's
me.
highly entertaining.
It's very entertaining. We should probably pipe her in just so everybody
on
can
completely separate feeds so people can hear it.
That's very
Just have the
amusing.
Liz feed so you can either listen to the actual show or just what's being said on the back channel.
I said pipe her in, not. Oh, that's right. Her name is Liz Piper.
Very
Wow.
good. You just
All right. Yes.
you just
very
tweaked.
well. And until next time, wishing you all clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care and God bless.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye, buddy.
See y'all. Oh,
Woo.
wow.
Wow.
How are you guys feeling? Pretty good?
Train crash.
Yeah, we feel
Train
pretty good.
crash.
Yeah. I mean, I feel good. I don't know about Jeff. I feel really good. My face
No,
hurts from
yeah.
laughing so much, but
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Good show. Well, I don't know. Really,
It was
I
a
was
show.
about to say, you gotta start
It was
editing
a
it.
show. It was a show.
It was adequate. Liz says, "Thanks, Liz." She's our number one supporter.
What does that say about it being adequate?
I know. I don't know. But it's always important to be adequate. Yeah. Thanks everybody in the chat room for hanging out with us. What?
Liz. Just watching Liz in the background.
Oh,
I'm
she
surprised
doing?
she's got any hair left, actually. I thought she'd have been pulling
Liz.
it out in clumps.
Put some clothes on, Liz. Come on. Stop it.
Why?
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Great to have you with us. It's always entertaining to see all the comments in the chat room, most of which we can share. And we love you all. We really do. And if you're watching the video and you've never gotten a chance to be with us when we record live, please do sometime. It's a lot of fun. As you can see, because when you're watching the video, you're watching the replay of the chat room comments, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I actually don't get the opportunity to watch it live, so it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, you mean?
Weirdly wonderful.
Weirdly wonderful. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and we'll see you. Well, I don't know what we're going to do next week.
Yeah, where are you going to be next week?
I'm going to be on a train.
I don't think you'd
How's
be
the
able to-
internet signal on a train?
I was about to say you're going to be in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Do it.
Yeah, possibly.
Like this 3-hour time difference, it'll just be us, unless stuff stays up really late.
Wednesday morning.
Oh,
no,
Rick
I
was
don't know. I
saying-
don't know what the.
Rick was saying Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
is-
We're
I'm going to be on a
Utah.
train.
Yeah.
Um,
Next Saturday.
Yeah, next.
Okay.
Saturday.
Well, I don't know any. Which dates are we talking about here? I'm
Well, we're talking
thoroughly
like
confused.
not this coming up Saturday, but
Yeah,
the following
The
Saturday. But that's
following
not-
Saturday, like 18th.
While you decide, I'm going to go to the toilet.
Okay, he's going to go to the toilet.
Say hi
So
to-
you know what?
Been hanging on.
This is the kind of stuff we normally talk about when we're not broadcasting anymore. So hopefully we'll be doing a show live next week sometime. We're going to figure this out after we end the broadcast. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you hopefully next week.
Bye, guys.
See ya.